Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The future of New York, the future of the country, the future of the world is me.
I am here because Washington needs fighters, and Graham Platner is the fighter we need. You bet. I said to myself, that's my kind of man.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are. We went toe-to-toe with one of the most entrenched political systems in the history of the world, and we won.
Won what?
We beat them on June 9th in overwhelming numbers. We did it the right way. We built a campaign. We engaged in electoral politics. We motivated people. We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change. And we won. And now they are not going to let us have it. Not if it's me. And so we're suspending campaign operations. I want to make clear, though, I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw. The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics. It needs to be driven not from back rooms, but by the will of the people.
Graham Platner, Maine. This was insane from the very beginning. It's about 1 million voters in Maine, okay? It's gone from a conservative state to a liberal state big time. And now Platner got the nomination to run for Senate on the Democratic Party. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. That's it. Bad guy, you Mainers, and you should know it. So now there's another accusation against him, and I looked into it. Looks legit. You know, a lot of these are bogus accusations. A lot of them. This does not look like bogus. Yes, the woman said she was raped by him, didn't go to the cops, didn't go to the hospital. Okay, didn't do it, but dumped him. And there are other extenuating circumstances like therapy and things like that. So Platner's gone. He's out. He's not going to run. That means Republicans will probably take that seat with Susan Collins.
Keep that seat.
Again. But you Mainers, I love Maine. I don't know what you're doing up there.
He gets to go away. He can go back online. He can go around doing all the kinds of things. But, the trash took itself out tonight.
The U.S. has launched new military strikes on Iran as President Trump says he doesn't know if we are headed to a full-scale conflict. Dick Brennan is here now with more details. Dick.
Well, Christine, it certainly appears that the 3-week-old ceasefire could be crumbling. In the last 24 hours, the U.S. and Iran have launched strikes, and the president saying the hopes of any peace deal might be done. The U.S. military struck Iran with a new round of attacks. President Trump confirming the strikes on Air Force One, returning from the NATO summit in Turkey.
We just hit them very hard, And I say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20.
Are we returning to a full-scale military conflict, sir?
I don't know. I don't know. We're winning very quickly.
This comes on a day when the president made it clear negotiations with Iran are not going well.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them.
The latest attack follows a heavy bombing campaign Tuesday night when U.S. forces hit about 80 targets inside Iran. Iran responded by firing missiles and drones. The president said Iran's actions have killed hopes for a deal.
They're liars. They're cheats. They're sick people.
Oil prices spiked on the news, part of the reason why by the end of the day, the president was trying to turn down the temperature, insisting whatever happens would end quickly and make things safer.
Now I think we're looking at a protracted conflict, and the negotiations are going to be in trouble for a while.
Democrats in the House blame the president.
Trump put us in a horrible position by starting this war in the first place. What we're basically negotiating now is how much to pay Iran to open up the strait when the strait was open before the war began.
Trump left Turkey on Air Force One, not the new jet donated by Qatar. It raised questions about security, and the president acknowledged the threat against him.
I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. I like being number one on TikTok better, but I'm number one on the list for killing.
The president insisted the plane switch was not related to security, but at the same time, he did say to reporters on board returning home with him that they probably were on a dangerous flight.
Go ahead, Red.
Mr. President, you said today, Ines Alcantara with MS Now, you said today that countries...
You're with who?
MS Now.
MS Now, that's a failing network. Why would you want to work for them? MS Now, can you imagine? They wanted to get away. They took the name NBC because they were embarrassed by it. Go ahead, let's go. When do you hear this question?
You said today that countries like Spain, Italy, and the UK were not there for the U.S. and its war with Iran. Should those countries be attacked, will the U.S. be there for them?
Well, I'll tell you what. Number one, Spain has been very bad, but, Italy's been good, and almost all of the countries have been good. They just had a bad moment. They didn't help us. We didn't need their help, but if we would have wanted their help, I said, by the way, if I want help, Sir would rather remain on the sidelines, and I didn't like that answer. UK gave an answer that was sort of weirder than that. They went out. I said, would you like to help? They said, we do, but we want to wait till the war is over. This was not in the spirit of Winston Churchill. So, I'll tell you what, I can only say if there's one word that comes out of today, it's unification. I've never seen anything like it. Every one of those countries, they love us, they love each other. That was tremendous unification. It was a nice thing to say, and it was a very fair question, too.
You seem to imply that AIPAC might be involved with the latest allegations of sexual assault by Graham Platner. Well, criticism of AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee.
Okay.
Well, criticism of AIPAC is perfectly legitimate political discourse. Do you not understand that this plays into anti-Semitic tropes about Jews controlling things, about Jews and money and power and politics? What do you even mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is it's unfortunate that rich donors that put Israel first are playing in American politics.
Well,
just
AIPAC
like my friend
is American
Thomas Massey.
donors, to be clear. It's Americans who care about the U.S.
No. They care about Israel first. Israel's committing genocide.
You know that under federal law, only American citizens can contribute to AIPAC.
Let me tell you, the future of this country is Americans are sick and tired of funding Israel's genocidal wars that are killing children.
Millions of Americans,
in Gaza,
including me, support Israel, for the record. That may be your
I don't
position.
support the government of Israel. I support people. And I support Americans, and I support our tax dollars being used for our purposes.
Do you see how this
However, AIPAC took out one of my good friends, Thomas Massey, okay? And Thomas Massey worked for his district.
Thomas Massey lost because Donald Trump endorsed against Thomas Massey.
Thomas Massey
you're going to blame AIPAC now? Because it feels like blaming the Jews. It feels like you're blaming the Jews.
No, I'm blaming donors that put Israel first over America. And this is
American donors who support Israel.
We landed. We went back to where our offices are, and took a shower, woke up, and I went into my office and I started working. And then my secretary came in and said, Jim, turn your TV on. A plane just went into one of the towers. And that's how I heard at the beginning. After 9/11, there was a lot of cars. When I drove in at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a whole bunch of cars. And that's not normal. Those were cars of people that drove there and perished. and it made me sick to my stomach.
You got a lot of things to do. I mean, at some point you have to start writing the speech when, in fact, you present me at that big Hall of Fame luncheon.
Oh, great. I'm glad we're back on the carousel.
Yeah.
Okay, Lou, you're on. Now, Lou, you're off.
No, I mean, I have not chosen you yet, but you should be prepared nevertheless.
Okay.
Well, that sounded like you chose him, actually, the way you stated that.
No. You don't want to be caught by surprise, and then all of a sudden you're not prepared. You don't want that, so.
Wait a minute. So you're going to have all the people that are on your list. So say it's 10 people who...
Oh, it's more than that.
Okay, so let's say it's 20 people. You're going to tell them all to write a speech, and then, because at the last moment, you're going to decide that one of them is going to be the one that inducts you into the Hall of Fame.
I'm not going to tell them anything. If you want to show up there and be unprepared and look silly, that's up to you. I would hope that all of these people, they're all big-time professional people. Some are not. Some are just family members and loved ones. Know what's at stake here. This is not a small thing.
That's totally obnoxious. If I was Lou, I would just take myself out of the running.
No.
I would say, screw that. I'm not going to. I'm going to write a speech, and I may never get to read it.
That's right.
No way.
My favorite phrase right now was, people need to know what's at stake here. It's almost like Iwo Jima. Right? You need to know what's at stake here, so you better be prepared, or there's the exit.
Trying to help you here.
Okay.
Last thing I want is Lou Ruffino standing up there looking all cross-eyed and doofy and...
Well, it's going to happen anyway because I'm Irish, so...
Well, I don't think you'll be drinking it's 11 o'clock. Well... Maybe you will. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, I think, Louis. So it may be noon.
It's a
lunch,
luncheon, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be prepared either way, all right? So you can just hit me 1 hour before. Hey, Lou, the other 18 canceled. Don't want to do it.
Well,
now,
ideally, what would you like to know?
No, about 8 minutes would be fine. Just come up to me and say, Lou, would you want to say, would you like to induct Sid, your longtime friend?
Yeah, long time.
Who you believed in.
Yes, that's true.
One of the first people to ever believe.
Maybe the only person.
Right, and think, he's destined for great things.
He did say that.
Correct.
Oh, you did say that.
I said it.
26 years ago.
But that's fine. I'll take a back seat to the other
24. You haven't taken a back seat to anybody yet. Yet. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, that's great. No, give me whatever notice you want to give me. Don't
here's what I'll do. I will make you this promise.
Right. Now we've gone from preparing the speech to here comes a small little promise.
I'll make you this promise.
All right, I can't wait.
I will make up my mind, and it could very well be you. In fact, I would even say this, and Noam, don't get nuts. Right now, and things can change daily. Right now, Louis is probably the leader in the clubhouse.
Okay.
Well,
probably. But I will let you know and everybody else who gets to present me a month before this all goes down.
No, that's way too
That's
much.
the third week of September.
That's too much time for you to change your mind. No way.
All right, maybe 2 weeks before. The beginning of October, we'll make that decision. Okay? Sure. Now, I've got a bunch of people sitting with me in one big room. They're going to help me make this decision, kind of like when they decided of the 20 people, which 6 or 7 would make the Hall of Fame. It's going to be the same type of thing in my office, in my conference room, which I don't have, and we figure out who is going to actually present me. So,
who's on this committee that gets to decide?
Right. I can't wait.
Well, I haven't decided that yet. But you're, in fact, you know what, Noam? You're on the committee.
Okay, great.
There you go. Congratulations.
You're the first one.
You're the first one.
On the
committee. Do you accept it?
I do, and I vote for Lou.
So well, you can't. No, now you're off the committee.
Why?
Because how do you know you're voting for Lou?
Because I
haven't given you the other names yet. No, you must hear all the names and then make an educated decision. Not because you're on the air with Lou right now. You want to come off like his buddy. Then you can't be on the committee.
Wow.
You're out.
I'm fired already.
Yeah, you're
gone. Under a minute.
Yeah.
No one was on the committee. Now he's off.
Go have lunch with Graham Platner. You're done.
Yeah. He hasn't even decided who's on the committee.
No, I haven't decided yet. Well, it's a very important thing. You can't just... you can't just...
Okay, I will be impartial, so you can put me back on the committee.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Noam, congratulations.
Noam, you better realize what's at stake, Noam.
Yes.
In fact, Noam, what I'm going to do is... not that you're not busy enough doing news on this show and your own great show, 5 to 6 every morning, I'm going to put you in charge of putting together the committee.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
How many do we want on this committee?
Ideally, I'd like at least 7 people.
That's a lot.
I want at least 1 black person.
Okay.
2 Muslims.
Right.
Maybe 3. This is New York City. Load them up with Muslims.
Okay.
And give me a Chinese guy, too, if you don't mind.
Gordon Chang's close
Oh, there you go.
right?
Yeah.
You got
Gordon Chang. And maybe a couple of Jewish guys, too. And
all right.
So it really speaks to New York,
Yeah, don't put any Irish on there, Noam, of course.
No
Don't-
Irish, no.
Don't have it fixed.
Unless they can prove they're sober.
Oh, okay, who's going to be the arbiter of that? Is everybody going to pee in a cup before they get on the committee?
But Noman's such a terrible person. He really is.
Why is that?
Because you're enjoying every second of this, aren't you?
No, I think this
you
is...
You really hope in your gut I don't pick Lewis. You'd like to see some type of family feud here. He is so hoping that Louis doesn't get picked so he can come in that next morning and deal with the intensity. The tenses.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, maybe I am.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Is this by the way, the committee, is it a secret ballot or does everybody have to show their vote?
Oh, that's going to be good now. I haven't thought about that.
Of course you haven't thought about it.
I think you have to show your ballot.
You do, okay.
Yeah, no cowardly, you don't have to show it and that type of pussy stuff. You got to let them know. Okay. And then I'll tell you what, when it's all said and done, kind of like the jury, the jury makes their decision, and then you see these jurors pop up on Good Morning America or the Today Show. I may bring on the committee members to explain why they didn't pick Lou.
What? Wait a second.
What?
You're making it like a foregone conclusion.
Well,
You
I'm
said
sure
why
it's
they
gonna
didn't pick
Well,
Lou.
at least somebody's not going to pick you, I'm sure. At least one person.
But you're making it sound like all of them are not going to
No, I'm not saying that.
You just did.
I don't think Ron Kuby's going to pick you.
Where did Ron Kuby come
Well, I
from?
think he's on the committee. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, really? I'm going to put Ron on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Ron Kuby. How did that come out of the snakes?
Well, I
in your
just started
head,
thinking
Ron
about
Kuby?
people that really hated you and Imus and everybody, and Curtis and Kuby came to mind right away.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that's the wrong assumption because Kuby practically lived at my desk.
Oh, he did?
At the old two-pen.
Then he can't be on the committee.
He would sit there and like, oh, my God, he's going to talk to me for like 45 minutes.
Oh,
and he
my
won't
God,
leave.
that's horrible.
That's what he did. Have I, is this... Lou, what kind of, what did you guys talk about in the third hour? I don't
He was like that. He did the same thing with me and Bernard and was very nice to us. I will tell you that he looked at our contracts when we first replaced Imus all the way back in like 2018. Pro bono. Didn't charge us. Ronald Kuby. And looked at the contracts and told us what he liked and didn't like. And at that time, we loved him.
Yeah, he's
we
a
thought
nice
he was
I like
come on, he's a terrible person.
No,
he
was
defends
nice to me.
every terrorist and every bad guy.
He's a
Black
terrible
guy
guy.
can rape 90 people and kill 100 people, but it doesn't matter because he's African American. There are injustices, and he has to defend them. Stop it.
Terrible guy.
Terrible guy.
Terrible. That's what I meant.
He's right there with Graham Platner, Erdogan, all these people.
Wow.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. He's a terrible person.
You know, the best Ron Kuby story was, I don't know if you remember this, he used to walk around the station in his socks.
Yeah.
And somebody complained, and so they had to come tell him. He got called into HR.
Is that right?
To tell him he had to wear
Just
shoes.
socks, nothing else? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You had to put
I
his
thought you
shoes
meant
on
just
every day.
socks.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of odd.
No, yeah, that would be really bad.
Quite
yeah.
the visual.
Yeah, no shoes.
Can you imagine having me told you have to put shoes on in your workplace? Like, Ron, there's a person, he's a lawyer.
He's an
and
adult.
you have to get called in.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
he's a lawyer. He's a brilliant guy. I'll be the
Yes,
first to
really
admit it.
smart.
But
Yeah.
the guy's never looked good ever. He's disheveled. He's got that stupid ponytail. No adult should have hair that long. I'm sorry, you look stupid.
Yeah, he looks
you
like,
just do.
He looks like the Grateful Dead turning away.
Terrible. I mean, come on.
you
I
can't.
don't care if Bill Kunstler loved him, if he's the greatest attorney ever. He looked ridiculous. Anyway, best to him. I played the Jim Bossel cut at the very end of the Open because I promised you guys on Monday, as soon as we were done celebrating our beautiful country's 250th birthday, which we did on Saturday, all of us except Mayor Mamdani, who found a way to give us a speech that lectured us on everything wrong with America. But the rest of us, patriots and great Americans, we love Saturday, July the 4th. But I did promise you, I'm the only guy in radio to do this. Trust me, I'm the only one. I promised you that I would turn my attention towards the 25-year commemoration of 9/11. So if you're keeping score, which of course you're not, but if you are, for example, Monday we played a clip from 9/11. I think it was Imus. Yesterday we played a clip, President Donald J. Trump calling Channel 9 or Channel 11 before he was president on that fateful morning as he watched the towers crumble. And this morning you heard from Jim Bossel. Jim was a dear friend of mine. He was the late coach of the New York Football Giants. Died about 2 years ago. And you know the story. The night before 9/11, Monday night, September 10th, 2001, was the first Monday Night Football game of the year. There was no Thursday game back then. So the season started the day before, Sunday the 9th. In fact, I remember I went to Hooters to watch all the games, and I saw, and I forget her name now, blonde, pretty, covered the NFL for a lot of years. I think she still does. Oh, Melissa Stark. Believe it or not, walked into the same Hooters. Wow. We ended up watching the games together. I think the Jets played the Colts that day. So the Giants had gone to the Super Bowl the season before. They got blown out. You know, the Giants have gone to 5 Super Bowls in the club's history, and they've only lost once, right? You remember 1986, Phil Simms, that great Giant team, beat John Elway and Denver in Pasadena. 1990, that Giant football team, clearly not the better team on the field that day, but a great coaching job by Bill Parcells with their backup quarterback, Jeff Hostetler, beat all those Hall of Famers led by Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills. And then the Giants got blown out in the Super Bowl I'm alluding to in 2000 in Tampa by the Baltimore Ravens. A terrible game for Giant quarterback Kerry Collins. And then after that, Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice. So the Giants are 4-1 in the history of their organization in Super Bowl play. But they did get blown out the year before, but it's okay. The NFL still rewarded the Giants with the first Monday night game of the next season. So the Giants went out to Denver, took on the Broncos with their young quarterback out of Michigan, Brian Griese, the son of Dolphin Hall of Famer Bob Griese, and the Broncos annihilated the Giants, killed them. I keep telling you this. One of the plays I remember that night was the former Giant wide receiver who was becoming a star in Denver with the Broncos, Ed McCaffrey, ripped up his knee that night, never played again. And, of course, now his son Christian is a major superstar in San Francisco. So the Giants get blown out by the Broncos, and they have to fly back early Tuesday morning after the game from Colorado to New Jersey. And Jim Bossel tells me the story, what he told me many, many times, that as the plane landed and they were taxiing towards the terminal, as they pulled into the terminal very, very early Tuesday morning, the flight that ended up crashing in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, United flight, may have been 11, I forget. At any rate, that flight was making its way towards the runway. How eerie is that, Noam?
Really eerie.
But in that cut, he talked about how he would go to work every morning, Secaucus, to Giant Stadium. Now it's called MetLife Stadium. I still call it Giant Stadium. And he would see all the cars. And they never left. You know, when you get to work at Giant Stadium 5:30 in the morning, there's only a few cars. He said it was the same cars day after day after day. And if you know about this, and Noam certainly does, in New Jersey, a lot of folks go to Secaucus, leave their car there, hop on New Jersey Transit. Joe Nolan knows this as well. And they go work in the city. And a lot of people did that morning and never came home. So that's what Jim Bossel was saying when he talked about all the cars. So if you did miss it at the very end of the open, because, again, I'm going to commemorate 9/11 every day until we get to 9/11 2026. Here it is again, the former New York Giant head coach. We lost him 2 years ago, Jim Bossel, on how eerie the Secaucus parking lot was right after 9/11. Cut 14.
We landed. We went back to where our offices are and took a shower, woke up, and I went into my office and I started working. And then my secretary came in and said, "Jim, turn your TV on. A plane just went into one of the towers." And that's how I heard at the beginning. After 9/11, there was a lot of cars. When I drove in at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. There was a whole bunch of cars, and that's not normal. Those were cars of people that drove there and perished, and it made me sick to my stomach.
All right, so we're going to cover every day until 9/11, that tragic day, because, and I admit this, I would not be doing this if I wasn't so upset about the mayor and other political officials in this city that have been on podcasts, that have endorsed candidates who have said this: America deserved 9/11. So if you're out there right now today and you say nice things about the mayor, Marsha Kramer, Morgan Mackay, Katie Honan, some of you business people, even people I know, even Trump, if you're saying nice things about Mamdani, don't forget, his best buddy is Hassan Piker. Piker was out in Colorado last week campaigning for that wretched female who actually won that DSA candidate. He said, with Mamdani sitting right in front of him on the podcast, America deserved 9/11. No pushback from the mayor. None. Zero. Why? Because he agrees. And one of these candidates, Valdez or the other Chevalier, one of them, they say the same thing. So, admittedly, because I hate the mayor's guts, I hate every second of his breathing, disgusting life, I can't help myself but to talk about 9/11 every day. Because I did lose friends in the building that day. And I cried with the rest of New York and the country. I walked past the towers that first night. My wife, Danielle, my beautiful wife, her girlfriend, Paige. You guys know Paige and Orrin, love them. She was dating a guy whose brother worked at Cantor Fitzgerald. And we went to Paige's Upper East Side apartment that day. I couldn't even get out. I was stuck in Astoria, Queens, but I eventually made my way to the Upper East Side to meet Danielle. And we sat in that apartment for hours. And every time the phone rang, Paige and the boyfriend jumped up. This was going to be the call we're waiting for. And it was about 7 o'clock that night that we came to the realization that call was never going to happen. And as we came to find, of course, I guess everybody in Cantor Fitzgerald died that day, including Howard Lutnick's brother Gary. And Howard was supposed to be there too. Just so happened his kid was late for school. I remember every moment of that day, the smell, the beeping. I lived in Chelsea. Danielle and I lived on 21st Street and 8th Avenue. Lou was at that apartment many times. And the windows were open and my eyes were bloodshot red for about 2 weeks because that toxic smoke was blowing into my building in Chelsea. It was horrendous. Thank God for Mayor Giuliani. Showed how much he loved this city and this country. Going to funerals every day. Did not have to do that. He didn't have to do it. He went to over 1,000 funerals, is what he said on this show, on many shows. So, yeah, I'm going to cover it every day because I love the people that died that day. I love our city. And to me, it is nothing short of sacrilegious that this jihadist, America-hating mayor is going to be down on that sacred soil on that devastating day. Devastating. I don't care what speech he reads. I don't care if he starts to cry. He's a liar. He's a filthy liar. So we're going to cover 9/11 every day. How about that, Noam?
It's good. I like that you're doing that.
Thank you, sir. Well, let's get to Graham Platner. He finally dropped out yesterday. We've been saying for days it's over. Almost every day another woman pops up and says, he raped me or he did something inappropriate. At least one said rape, and I believe that's the one that ultimately cost him the job here. He keeps talking about we won. He won nothing. He won the primary. He's making it sound like he beat Susan Collins and took the seat. He didn't do that. In fact, I believe part of the reason why he dropped out was because the Democrats, who don't care about women getting raped, how do I know that? Just take a look at Sonny Hostin, one of the repulsive hags on The View. A lot of hags on that show, a lot. Marjorie Taylor Greene embarrassed herself on that show yesterday. I already played that, we'll play it again. Sonny Hostin on record even yesterday saying she would vote for Graham Platner. So she would vote for an alleged rapist. The Democrats don't care. They never asked Eric Swalwell to drop out of Congress. Just quit the gubernatorial race. And you've got Democrats saying they would still vote for Graham Platner. But they're the party that cares about women, right? What a complete joke. Liz Warren, he's my man. Now, a lot of them have come around, including Pocahontas. And now they've turned their back on this creep. Wow, that's really courageous. Way to go, guys. And he's still denying all these accusations. And of course he is. But part of the reason why he dropped out was because the Democrats turned their backs on him. Why? Not because he's an alleged rapist, but he was losing. He didn't win anything. He won the primary. He was losing to Susan Collins. And Susan Collins, just to correct Bill O'Reilly, would not take the seat. She would keep the seat because she happens to be the congressperson there now. He was trying to upset her, and he wasn't getting it done. So don't kid yourself. It had nothing to do with rape allegations. These dirty, disgusting Democrats saw that he wasn't going to win. Same thing with Eric Swalwell. That's all they care about. You can rape and pillage, do whatever you want, as long as you can win. But when the numbers come back and they're not so good, then you got to go. So here is Graham Platner, who, as Bill O'Reilly said, he's just a bad guy. He's a very bad guy. Here he is, Lewis, cut number 2, dropping out yesterday afternoon.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not.
Sure it is.
We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
Democrats.
And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are. We went toe-to-toe with one of the most entrenched political systems in the history of the world, and we won.
You won nothing. You won a primary. Shut up.
We beat them on June 9th in overwhelming numbers.
You beat Democrats. That's right.
We did it the right way.
Yeah, right.
We built a campaign.
Yeah,
we engaged in electoral politics. We motivated people.
Bernie Sanders.
We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change.
You're a dick.
And we won. And now they are not going to let us have it.
Who's they? The Democrats?
Not if it's me.
Right.
And so we're suspending campaign operations.
I go home. Shut
I
up.
want to make clear.
Shut up, God. My God. Who could listen to this lying piece of garbage? And they won't let me win. It's the Democrats, retard. It's your own party. We don't care. We want you to run. We love it when alleged rapists run against our candidates. That should make for a pretty good day for Sue Collins. It ain't us. It's your people. Those are the ones who stabbed you in the back, which they should have done a long time ago. But again, there's no moral compass left in the Democrat Party. There's none. Zero. Noam, what's the latest?
Yeah, well, before that, of course, there were other accusations, and he had the Nazi tattoo, but that was not enough to try to derail him.
Nazi tattoo is great these days.
Yeah.
We love hating the Jews. You heard Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View yesterday that all these rich donors, it's all about Israel first. That's America, Israel first. I mean, what a lying C-word she's become. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was amazing. I had not heard that till you played that this morning.
That was yesterday on The View, and thank God for Alyssa Farah Griffin, who actually provided some pushback, because this is the narrative, this is the lie that is spreading across America like a disease. Americans, because they're stupid and they are hateful, and a lot of them are just anti-Semites, gladly accept that Israel is genocidal, even though it's the furthest thing from the truth. The furthest thing. Go ahead, Noam.
I was just talking about, Platner didn't really have any way out of this. I mean, they were turning off the spigots of all the funding. So, I mean, even if he wanted to keep going, the money wasn't going to be there from the party because that's where the money was coming from. So now they're going to try to pick somebody else that, the whole appeal of him was he was like a down-home guy, an oyster farmer. So now there's a former state Senate president who apparently is the lead candidate. He's a logger, right? So they want somebody who's going to be
a logger.
A logger.
Yeah, the Paul Bunyan type, right? Wears the flannel shirt, cutting down trees.
And
real man.
And his politics are probably just as left as Platner, but he doesn't have all the past sordid stuff in his history. So that's the guy probably that'll replace him. At least that's the thought.
I can't hear this one enough, too. One more time. This is Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren, who came out, she's like, no, I'm not. I'm done with Graham Platner, but she was so excited. She nearly orgasmed, which is grotesque. But she nearly did. Think about that for a second, folks. There's a visual for you. Here is Liz Warren, cut number 1. This is just a couple of weeks ago.
I am here because Washington needs fighters, and Graham Platner is the fighter we need. You bet. I said to myself,
yeah, what?
That's my kind of man.
I'm my kind of man right there, yeah. Tie me up and maybe rape me, I don't know. It's a legend, of course. We don't know that. That's my type of guy. I love that type of guy. You often hear this and you go on Twitter or one of these social media things and, they'll put up like an old Instagram reel or an old tweet and you'll read, this didn't age well. Well, I think it's fair to say, Pocahontas, that didn't age very well, did it? That is my type of man. That's your Democrat Party. They are cool with rapists. They love hating on Israel. They lie about Israel. They hate the Jews. That's your Democrat Party. Now, there are some Republicans, too, that are starting to mirror the Democrats, but it is still very, very small in number, comparably. All right, the Iran situation. We heard yesterday Trump called them scum, blah, blah, blah. Trump said all the things that Sid Rosenberg has said on this show for the better part of 3 months, that Sid Rosenberg has said as a guest on many other radio shows, that Sid Rosenberg said on Fox News just 2 weeks ago. And I don't believe that President Trump just came to this realization 2 days ago. He's much too smart for that. But we struck about 90 different targets in Iran last night, second straight night of U.S. bombing. So what's the latest there, Noam?
Yeah, well, that, and then Iran also trading fire, shooting at some of sites in Bahrain, and saying that they're not going to back down. They say as long as they're being fired at, they're going to fire back.
I believe them, do you?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they pretty much shown that they're not going away anytime soon. It doesn't matter what we threaten them with, economic sanctions. We're going to blow up all your bridges. We're going to kill all your leaders. They don't care.
The president was back, he's back at the White House, got back about 1:30 this morning from the NATO summit. But on the way back, reporters were asking him, is this ceasefire officially over? He wouldn't officially say it's over, but he basically says it's over.
There was no ceasefire.
Yeah.
This is the most ridiculous conflict I've seen in my life. If God is good to me, I'll be 60 in April. And I love this president. I still do. A lot of you get annoyed when I say that. I know you do. I don't care. I don't care. This was the most ridiculous ceasefire I'd ever seen. They shot at us. We shot at them almost every day. Every day. KT McFarland tried to explain to me, well, in the history of ceasefires, people do. Stop it, KT. Stop it. I know you love Trump. So do I. This whole thing has been a disaster. And now it's become almost comical. When the president comes out and gets really tough with Iran, it's like, ho hum, I'm sorry. So we'll talk to John Solomon coming up momentarily. I've told John this 2 or 3 times on the show already. None of this is shocking to me. None of it. And now the price of oil is going back up and the price of gas is going back up and the markets have had a rough couple of days because this thing's not over. We didn't win anything. Stop saying we won. Stop it. Trump, people on this radio station, stop it. We won nothing. You agree with that, Noam?
Yeah, well, the president yesterday at the NATO summit was a reporter asking him that. Said, have you won this war? And he said, yeah.
Oh, please. Of course he's going to say that. What do you think Trump is going to say? I don't understand. So just because Trump says it, you have to say it too? You got to say the same thing because Trump said it? I don't understand that. How did we win?
Well, he says we won because we have essentially taken away their nuclear capabilities.
Well, he's right about that. If that was the only reason why we waged war with Iran, that was it, just to make sure that they couldn't build a nuclear weapon, then guess what? We didn't win with this war. We won it with Midnight Hammer. I say it all the time. Midnight Hammer was a huge success. And if he's talking about winning because of the nuclear stuff, that's not about this war. It's about Midnight Hammer. Even Operation Epic Fury, that first Saturday morning, when we wiped out about 40 of their leaders, including the Khomeini, those were successes. But the last couple of months of this conflict, what have we done? We're looking to reopen the strait. It was open before we started the war. We removed the naval blockade. There was no naval blockade before the war. We're going to get the dust. We haven't gotten dick. We're going to wipe out their regime. We wiped out 3 levels. Guess what? There are still lunatics running that country. So, yes, Midnight Hammer did what Trump wanted to do. So what was the last 2 months about? Tell me. What was the last 2 months about? Trying to improve the economy? Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, great question to ask.
Yeah. Well, no one asks great questions. And he won't come back on with me about this because the president, as much as he loves me, he knows I'm a lot smarter than MS Now, and I'm not I'm not going to suck his ass like Fox News. So, yeah, he doesn't come on. He wouldn't even return my text the last 5 or 6 weeks because he knows I know what the hell I'm talking about. I do. I don't just suck up to the president and say everything he does is great. It's not true. Midnight Hammer, great. Epic Fury, great. The last 2 months, disaster. Disaster. What are the numbers this morning with oil and gas and all that? No?
I know that things were up like 7 or 8% yesterday in the markets.
All right, what else is going on? God damn it.
Have the city health department.
I don't care.
No, you will care about this.
Is this Legionnaire's disease again?
No, this is not Legionnaire's. This might maybe even be worse.
Even worse?
Well, maybe. The city health department announced yesterday that there are 273 confirmed cases of this explosive diarrhea.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, this is bad. No, this is very, very bad.
You don't want
very bad.
Anything called explosive diarrhea, you do not want. You might want Legionnaires ahead of.
Well, you know what's funny
diarrhea.
about that? When I got my colonoscopy a couple of months ago,
right?
I mean this, and it was a life-changing event for me. I've lost 11 pounds since then. In fact, almost everybody I see who I haven't seen in quite some time goes, oh, man, you lost a lot of weight. Like Mark Simone was alarmed. He didn't like it. He's like, you look tougher when you have a lot of weight. 90% of the people say, well, you look a heck of a lot better. Even on television, you look a heck of a lot better. But there are some that are like, wow, you lost a lot of weight. It all started with the colonoscopy. And when you drink that stuff, that you drink the night before the actual procedure.
Right.
That stuff comes out of your ass as fast as a Japanese bullet train. And I put like $1 million in that morning. I loved having diarrhea the night before. I loved it. So if I get this, it's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
Well, no, because the thought is for some of these people, they have it for days on end. It's not just one day.
Fine. You lose a lot of weight.
Yeah. Well, one woman was talking about that. She said she lost 10 pounds too.
There's no reason in this day and age with these GLPs. Is that what it's called? GLPs.
That's right.
Why is anybody fat anymore? I mean, you're fat. It doesn't look good. I'm sorry. Fat doesn't look good. It's not healthy. It doesn't feel good. You got the eczema. Your joints are rubbing together. It's 100 degrees outside. In this day and age of the GLP, where you put a little prick in your stomach, and in literally a week you can lose 10 pounds. In a week. Why is anybody fat? Why?
Well, first of all, the GLPs don't work for everybody.
Everybody.
There's a fair amount of people it doesn't work
No,
for.
it works for everybody.
No, it doesn't.
No, but if you're 400 pounds...
No, but even, I'm telling you, that there's certain people it doesn't work.
It does work. You have to find the right one for you.
I guess. I mean, there's 4 or 5 of them out
right.
there. But
there's no reason to be fat anymore unless you want to be fat and you look terrible. No?
Yeah, but there's side effects with the GLPs.
Oh,
and
stop it.
I'm just telling you, you're asking the question. I'm just
I didn't
answering
ask
it.
anything. I made a statement that there's no reason to be fat anymore.
And I push back that statement's not completely accurate.
100% true.
The GLPs don't work for everybody. That's
everybody.
the problem.
You got to find the right one. And who cares about side effects? I mean, give me a break. You ever watch these medications on television? They talk about the medication for literally 5 seconds, and the next 30 seconds is all the bad things that's about to happen to you, including explosive diarrhea.
Worse than death.
Take this depression medication, and you won't be depressed, but you'll die. Okay, great. So side effects, I mean, that comes with the territory. Yeah. When you drink liquor, when you do, illicit drugs, like you've done many times, Noam.
Yeah. Well, you would think, right, if you were overweight, at least you would try it.
Try it.
To see if it works.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the story with this diarrhea?
So there's 273 confirmed cases here in the city. The explosive diarrhea kind of explains itself, so I don't need to tell you what it's about. But they think it's a result of consuming food or water that's been contaminated with feces. In almost all these cases, people have traveled internationally, but not all of them.
So it's not all water?
Well, no, because some of them had not traveled.
Do we know some of the countries that...
most of them are tropical countries. That's as much as
there's always duty in the water in tropical countries.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know that, right?
That's why you have to drink bottled water.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's the story. And then one more.
Pretty crappy story?
It is a crappy story.
What's the last one?
Former Senator Bob Menendez, of course, he's behind bars for taking bribes. Now his wife, Nadine's going to have to report on Friday. She took bribes, too.
He's a criminal.
A federal judge yesterday denied her request. No, Nadine Menendez is battling breast cancer, and they say too bad. You'll have to battle it behind bars. They say the federal prison has medical treatment for breast cancer, so she'll continue to get that while she's behind bars. She has to report on Friday.
And didn't his kid just win a recent election in New Jersey?
Yeah, in my district, actually.
Oh, your district. Mm-hmm. What's his name again?
Same name, but he goes. His name is Bob.
Oh, Robert.
But he goes by Rob.
He goes by Robert.
Which is smart. Right. You want to change your name when your dad's behind bars.
All right, it's a heck of a start there, Noam Layton. Excellent job.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Quickly, my basketball team, we lost again last night. We're 2-2. We've now suffered 2 straight losses. Joe has himself a great team. His son is on the team. I forgot his name, number 7. But I'm still proud of all my kids. My assistant coach, Ryan Moran, he does a great job. And we had 7 kids last night. Michael was back. And the guy who was my best player, Thomas Healy, his mom and dad, I mentioned this a lot, they own Healy's Pub right across the street from the Rockaway Hotel. And he played great last night. And Ty, I love Ty. He plays well, very hard. My son Gabriel and Willie, as you guys call him, Berth, and Henry and Jamie. Those are my 7 guys last night. They played very hard, but they were outclassed. It's kind of like the American soccer team. I guess it was, what's his name, Pulici? How do you say that guy's name? I don't know. Like I said, it's the dumbest thing. The American soccer team, no one's named Bob Smith, really? Like all these guys are from someplace else. You know that. But anyway, he actually said, look, we're not better. Belgium proved it. They hammered us 5-2 in the friendly game right before the World Cup and won by the same exact margin, 3 goals inside the World Cup. And we could have lost that game 8-0. So we're just not good enough. Well, my boys last night gave maximum effort. I was proud of them. It was a beautiful night, too, Lewis. I had dinner over at Callie's before. Hope my guy's listening right now, the great Terrence Mullen. I think his brother Chris, the Basketball Hall of Famer, will be back in town next month. But saw Tommy there, too. Had a great dinner. Danielle was there, and Ava's friend Emily from England. She's in for the next 8 or 9 days. So it was a lovely night in Rockaway. We suffered a loss, but it's always a win. You can go to my Instagram, @rosenberg.sydney, @rosenberg.sydney. Ava took a nice video of me coaching, and I look like an absolute crazy person.
No, I find that hard to believe.
I know you do, Lewis. I know, but I look like a crazy person.
Yeah.
In the video, you see me talking to Gabe and the rest of the team and then finger-pointing the opposing coach. I saw Bert last night. I love Bert, Shane Siderman. All the guys. So another great night at the St. Francis Summer Basketball League in Rockaway. We'll take a break. Again, we got 6 amazing guests on today, 2 or 3 that you very rarely hear on WABC. But we'll start with a guy who's as smart as anybody in the business. The brilliant John Solomon kicks us off.
This is
Sid on Sports.
Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. Out in Queens, 5-run rally in the 8th lifted the Mets to a 6-2 win over the Royals in the middle game of a 3-game series. Up next, for the lefty, Sean Manaea will get the start against Kansas City's Michael Wacha in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game set. First pitch from KC scheduled for 1:10. In Tampa Bay, the Yankees got shut out 3-0 by the Rays in the third game of a 4-game series, dropping a 5 games back now with Tampa for first place in the division. Up next for the Yankees, the finale of this 4-game set against the Rays this afternoon, with New York vying for a series split. Yankees have yet to pick an opener against Tampa's Drew Rasmussen in what will be a 1:10 p.m. first pitch from Tropicana Field. Let's head to the World Cup. Little look ahead after an off day yesterday. Quarterfinals begin this afternoon, 4 p.m. in New England, France and Morocco.
Tomorrow. Oh, my buddy, the great Dr. John Batash.
The great.
Love him. He was in Israel with me, And he is dying to go to this game, but these tickets, even in Boston, France, Morocco, almost impossible to get. Impossible.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, technically Foxborough, but same deal.
Well, it is Foxborough, right? Oh, so they're playing in the Patriot Stadium?
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
France and Morocco. What's this kid's name? Mbappe?
Mbappe. He's not a kid. He's a grown man.
Fine.
Very good.
He's a kid. I'm going to be 60 years old.
Right.
I'm probably twice his age, if not more.
Right.
But he's got a lot of goals, this kid.
Yeah.
He's great every year. He's one of the greats.
Right, this child. So,
I was living on the Upper West Side a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That horrible place.
Right.
And right around the corner from my apartment building on 104th and West End is this cute little French cafe. We had dinner there a lot. You guys remember? I became very friendly with the chef. His name is Robert. Great guy. He used to call me and Bernie all the time.
Sure, why not?
Café du Soleil.
Yeah.
Shut up, Justin. Café du Soleil or something like that.
Yeah.
And France beat Croatia, and they won the World Cup.
Oh, my God.
It was a couple years ago.
No, it couldn't have been a couple years ago. This is only after 4 years.
2022.
It has to be more than 4.
Well, whatever. It's like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. Well, no, because Argentina won the last one. So
but that was in the Winter Cup, Argentina, wasn't it?
No,
they
have one World Cup
one
every
World
4
Cup.
years.
Okay, so the one before Argentina won was clearly France.
Yes.
So if you win 2 out of 3, that's damn good.
I would say so.
They were blowing those vuvuzelas all over the Upper West Side.
Yeah, those aren't annoying.
And those things that make noise?
Yeah, that's a vuvuzela.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding.
Oh, those things were so... I couldn't sleep.
No.
Couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And it's a French cafe.
Oh.
And nobody... Listen, I'm sorry. I've been all over the world. There is no more annoying people than the French.
Oui.
Yeah.
Il stupido.
Yeah. I've been to Paris one too many times.
Yeah. Well.
I've been there once. So France plays Morocco. Who else today?
Nobody else today. Tomorrow you get Spain and Belgium, and then on Saturday.
Oh, I'm rooting for Belgium big time.
Yeah, big time.
I hate the Spanish now.
I don't like them.
They screw America. They hate Israel. God, I hate Spain.
Yeah, screw them.
Let's go Belgium.
Yeah, and then Saturday you get Norway and England before Argentina.
I
and
love that
Switzerland.
guy on Norway.
Erling Haaland.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah.
And England has Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Who is related to Citizen Kane.
Yep.
I believe.
Cousin of Harry Potter.
Yeah. And what else? Who else plays on Sunday now?
That's Argentina and Switzerland.
Oh, I'm rooting for Argentina.
Yeah.
They love the Jews.
Yeah.
Big Israeli flag and pissed off the Egyptian coaches, those anti-Semites.
Yes.
Let's go Argentina. They got Lionel Messi.
Yes.
He's the best player ever.
Sure.
What?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just letting you kind of run away with
Is he
this.
better than Pele?
I wasn't around for Pele. I don't know. And even
Well,
if
you
I
weren't
was
around for
for
Babe
that,
Ruth either. You know what Babe Ruth is?
Even if I was around, okay, but even if I was around for Pele, I've never watched more than 5 consecutive minutes of soccer in my entire life.
You never watched the Cosmos?
No.
Oh, Giorgio Canalia?
Come on, Prince Beckenbauer.
Stop.
Yeah.
You sound ridiculous. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you.
Sebastian Steinschweiger?
The world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
What if the cost of that is much higher prices in gas, maybe even we run out of gasoline, or boots on the ground? Is that a reasonable price to pay in order to take out the regime for America, not for Israel, but you're an American.
I'm an American, and I'm a MAGA Trump guy. I love President Trump. If you're watching, I love you. We need to win in November. That's the bottom line. And to your point, Rachel, no, this is disastrous at this point. But the Israelis don't care. And the truth is, for America, if we're going to win this, there's only one way to win. You know, I keep hearing, well, diplomacy, let's have an honest conversation. That's not going to happen. I'm guaranteeing this audience right now, Iran will never agree to a deal, and if they do, they will never comply.
I keep playing that appearance I made almost 3 weeks ago with Rachel Campos, Duffy, Charlie Hurt, and Griff Jenkins Sunday morning, Fox and Friends on the weekend, because I'm right. I've been right the whole time. No one's been more right about this Iran conflict than me. Bottom line. And we're nowhere. Okay? Midnight Hammer, huge success. Operation Epic Fury, huge success. The last couple of months, stuck in mud. John Solomon joined the White House a couple of weeks ago as an unpaid special government employee to lead a task force on government transparency. His role focuses on identifying withheld documents regarding election integrity, weaponization, and the 2020 election. While in this temporary government advisory position, Solomon has stepped aside as the editor-in-chief of Just the News, the media outlet, of course, he founded, though he continues his commentary and reporting work. In fact, he continues it right now, because here he is back on Sid Friends in the morning. I love this guy, John Solomon. I guess let me start with congratulations, John.
Thank you. Yeah, I was at 5 or so this morning looking through some documents. We're working hard to get a large number of documents out over the next few weeks. I think people will begin to see the secrets that they've been kept from for a very long time. So I'm very excited to be part of this work. Got a great team that we're working with, and you'll start to see the fruits of our labor very soon.
You know, with 9/11 coming up, the 25-year commemoration, and I started this Monday, John. I know you and your family listen. I play a cut every day that relates to that day, and it's mostly because I hate the mayor. And I'm disgusted by the disrespect with this big date coming up. I'll admit that. Yeah. I'll admit that. That's my motivation. But Rudy Giuliani was so brilliant, and his life has been ruined because he really believed. He did. I know he worked for the president, but he really believed, as does Trump, that 2020 election was rigged. And he's taken a beating for it. Are you telling me, John, that sometime sooner than later you're going to provide some proof that'll free my boy Rudy Giuliani?
Well, let the public decide how good the proof is. We are definitely on going back a very long time, 2 decades, really. We're looking at things about election integrity and security and weaponization that have not yet been released, that have been kept from us. We've had lots of investigations. It turns out even those investigations didn't turn up some very significant secrets. So the questions that we would like to answer, we don't know what they're going to be yet because we're still going through the documents. Are election machines secure? What has the intelligence community known about them? What has there ever been any evidence of cheating that didn't get prosecuted? What did we know about that? Who in the intelligence community didn't tell Congress or didn't tell a president about vulnerabilities that should be fixed? Do we have a glass chin going into the 26th election when it comes to the stability or security of our elections? And so those are the questions. The answers are going to be in the documents, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm always a guy that likes to wait and see what we got before I predict. But, you know, this is an important mission, but it's not just about elections. It's about the abuse of intelligence powers, the abuse of law enforcement powers, the invasion of our privacy. Perhaps our Fourth Amendment isn't as robust as we thought in recent years. Maybe we're being spied on more. So those are all questions that we're trying to get to the bottom of. Until we get to them, we don't know the answers. So we'll wait and see. But I go in with an open mind. Everyone does. And we'll see what the evidence shows. I think we'll start to produce some evidence in the next couple of weeks that people will begin to make their own assessments about where we go with it.
Spied on more. I mean, I've seen stories about people walking into supermarkets. You know, people walking into, these big supermarkets, and there's like something on their hand. I don't know. They take some type of handprint or something, and the next thing you know, I mean, this is straight out of George Orwell, 1984. Yep. They know everything about you, and the customer doesn't even realize that. How is that okay?
We are in a surveillance society, and by the way, it goes well beyond our government. Now, there are some obviously very concerning things that we've learned about our government and our surveillance, the fact that they were getting bank records out with subpoenas, the fact that they got the FBI director and White House chief of staff's phone records. We know that to be true, that they were getting phone records on members of Congress despite the protections of the separation of powers in the Constitution. So, but it goes beyond that. We have these large, massive data farms that private companies have created. You saw what TikTok was doing. I think we will learn that China was infiltrating significant, important data about every American that goes beyond just their social media habits. Maybe it gets down to their driver's licenses, their Social Security, their voter registration cards. There's so much in the surveillance society we are, and private companies collect it, foreign powers hack it, and all of a sudden the foreign powers have the benefit of that espionage, of that privacy information. I think that surveillance society that we're living in, there's a reckoning moment for all of us to figure out how do we make this better. We're too smart a country to allow this level of information security weakness to exist.
Totally agree. John Solomon joining us right here. So, look, you heard what I said. I played that clip again, me on Fox News. Again, I think that Midnight Hammer was a huge success. That's why the Iranians can't build a nuclear weapon. It has nothing to do with the last 2 months. Nothing.
That's right.
Right. Epic Fury, big deal. Great job. Wiped out Khomeini, 3 other levels, and showed them that here we come. But I've said this to you. You've been on the show quite a bit now, John. The last couple of months, we've been stuck. We've won nothing. We've won. For the president to say it, I get it. He's the president. What do you expect him to say? But there's a lot of smart people I talk to every day that are saying the same thing. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. We've won nothing. Can you make an argument we've won this war?
Well, if you take the objectives that were given to us when the military action started, we achieved those objectives. We got rid of Iran's Navy. We got rid of its Air Force. We got rid of most of its military-industrial complex. We got rid of its nuclear weapons capabilities. We substantially reduced the size of the Revolutionary Guard, those were the objectives. We accomplished that by March or April very clearly. So from a military objectives to victory, yes. The goal of getting to a peace deal always was going to be the sticky wicket. I think you and I talked about this could be cat and mouse, right? We'd go for a while, then Iran would act bad, we'd whack them, we'd get back to the table. I think that's played out exactly the way that you and I talked about this a few weeks ago. The ultimate problem for President Trump, and I think you and I talked about this, was his desire to get a peace deal may run into the fact that the Iranians can't, or not possible to be trusted to accept such a peace deal. And I think that that's the point the president reached the last couple of days. He gave them a few months. Every time they acted bad, he punished them more. Then he gave them a little trust. Let's open up. We'll give you a little bit of money. They'll do a little bit of oil sales. And what did they do? They acted bad. So the president, like punishing a recalcitrant teenager, basically now said, we're done with this. We're finished. We'll see if that happens or whether the negotiators come back and say, give us one more shot, boss.
Oh, come on.
But at the end of the day, Iran has proven for 47-plus years it is not a trustworthy member of the world community. It prefers violence over peace.
That's right.
It prefers radicalization over normalization. It wants nuclear weapons. It hates America. It hates Israel. And that's a very difficult enemy to negotiate with. Could there be a deal? Possible. But I think at this point the president is going to go in and finish some more military objectives and then declare it done and leave Iran in a set of rumble.
No disrespect. You're a lot smarter than me. It's not possible. It's not possible.
I think that's exactly the president.
To be honest, every time Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner walks off a plane, I find it to be embarrassing for the United States. I really do.
Yeah, I understand the dynamic. I also understand the president's desire to give peace a chance. But, in 4 months, 3 months, he's made a pretty clear decision. Yesterday, the language, the body language, everything the president said tells me that he's kind of finished with this. He gave them 3 months. He tried everything. He even gave them some rope and let them act badly and give them a chance. But I think he's determined now that this is not a country that ever wants a peace deal. And I think you're right. I think what we will do is finish our military objectives, leave Iran in a complete rumbled state, and then go back and do the other things that America needs to do. But I think that what will happen in the next few weeks, in the reporting I've done, you have a growing number of civilian leaders that don't want any more war. They understand that. Then you have the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard. They are just radical nuts. and they just continue to tug that. So I think the president will thin out the Revolutionary Guard. There were 47,000, I think, of their troops at the beginning. They're down below 30 from the reporting I've done. If you get them down below 10 or 5, they're not a big a threat anymore. So I think they'll keep eradicating them and then maybe give the Iranian people a chance not to be suppressed by the IRGC and maybe take their country back. I think that's probably where he ends up. And then we go back to the business of all the other things America has to do, including the elections this fall.
Right, which is really important. And the final 60 seconds, John Solomon, and again, congratulations. Now, John, part of that SGA crew working at the White House, and we couldn't find a better American and a smarter guy than John. I don't remember this because, I spent a lot of years talking about Eli Manning and Carmelo Anthony, but at what point exactly did Erdogan and Turkey become our friends, where they get more compliments than Bibi and Israel? Can you help me out here, John?
Well, it's been a member of NATO for quite some time, and that always was a question for people. Was that a good move? And in some moments in history, it's proven to be a good move. Turkey's done things that were beneficial to the United States. In other moments in history, it's been a troublesome move, and Turkey's acted badly. It has ambitions of restoring the Ottoman Empire. When you listen to Erdogan, he has this much like Putin, this romanticized idea that he's going to create a new conquest. It's not possible. It's not going to happen. The recent comments by President Trump are designed to reward good behavior. Turkey didn't support the bad guys or get behind Iran. And secondly, they've been trying to create a more normalized relationship in Syria. Syria was the other Iran. Remember Assad, one of the great state sponsors of terrorism? President Trump yesterday proposed removing Syria from the state-sponsored terrorism list because Syria's been acting good. Turkey's been a big part of trying to push that dynamic. Now, it's fragile. It could go sideways just like Iran, but Syria is going in a direction that Iran hasn't proven to go yet, and that is they're trying to become a more normal nation and become part of the Western world. That can be one of the great hidden successes of Trump's foreign policy.
John Solomon, you're amazing. You really are. So, again, congratulations on this White House position, and please just keep coming on with me because I love you so
much. My whole family listens to your show, so every time I'm on, I'm talking to my family. It's great.
I love it. John, you're great. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
great
Sid.
job.
Take care.
You are terrific. John Solomon, right here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. Once again, editor-in-chief of Just the News. But these days, he's got a very important job with the White House, with the special government employee leading a task force on government transparency, which, of course, we could always use more of that. We'll take a break. Nomi's got the news. We've got the Worldwide News Network, which I got to tell you is good. I got to say it. I got to give Lee Harris credit. They do a good job because they tackle all the international stuff. Then Noam comes. He gives you all the local stuff. And then you get the best talk show anywhere in the country with the rest of us. And two great guests about to come your way.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The foreign policy advisor for Israeli Prime Minister, my friend Bibi Netanyahu. He's in the room with Bibi all day, every day. So he knows exactly what's going on, even during those Bibi Trump phone calls. So with that said, let me welcome him in, making his debut on Sid and Friends in the Morning from Israel, Dr. Ophir Falk. Dr. Falk, good morning, or in your case, good afternoon. Hey. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Sid. Thanks for having me.
It is great to have you, and so much to discuss. I guess we'll start with Iran. I was just in Israel a couple of weeks ago. I was there speaking, Alex Trayman, JNS.org. In fact, I saw Bibi speak on that Sunday night. I was sitting right there in the front row. And I think that Israel and me, we want the same thing, which is while we talk about the economics of the war and the nuclear stuff, we want to make sure, basically, that Iran can't continue to hurt America and Israel, people in the Middle East. That's the bottom line, right? So I think we all want to see some type of reason to believe that Iran will not be able to do that in the future. Is that fair to say, Dr. Falk?
Right. So the bottom line is that Iran cannot have nuclear bombs. That's the bottom line. The president's been very clear on that. The prime minister's been very clear on that. And deal or no deal, they will not have any atomic bombs. Iran's weaker than it's ever been before because, along with the United States, Israel has hit them very hard. They've been calling death to America and death to Israel for 47 years, and we're putting an end to that. today.
They did that just yesterday. Again, they chanted the same thing. So is it fair to say then, based on what you just said, that you and Bibi, you're happy with where we are in this war?
Well, we have a fantastic relationship, obviously, with the United States. Israel and the United States have a fantastic relationship. We are America's model ally, and obviously the United States is Israel's indispensable ally. Never has there been such cooperation and coordination between a prime minister and a president, and between our armed forces, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, and American military forces in this war, in Rising Lion and in Epic Fury. We've hit Iran like they've never been hit before. They're weaker than ever. We've taken out 20 of their top nuclear scientists. We've taken out tier 1 of their leadership, tier 2 of their leadership, and now we're basically dealing with the D-League. Now, if the president can do a deal and prevent them from having a nuclear bomb, great. But as the president said, and as the prime minister has said, deal or no deal, Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, and they can no longer be the bullies of this neighborhood.
You know, you just talked about the relationship between Israel and America, and Bibi and Trump specifically. Yet, you know, the media here in the United States would lead you to believe the last couple of weeks that relationship is very strained, to say the least, that Trump, he's out there and he says things about Bibi that are not all that nice, and that those two guys aren't necessarily best friends these days. Now, again, Dr. Falk, you are in those rooms. You're in the room with Bibi just about every time he speaks to President Trump. Is there any truth to the American media stance that Trump and Bibi's relationship is at the very least strained?
Well, I think it was the president said that the relationship has never been better. They've met 7 times. The prime minister and the president have met 7 times since President Trump was reelected. They talk during the war. They talked almost every day, and they talk very frequently. And they're set to meet soon. They're going to set a date, and they're going to meet soon. There's never been better partners in war, and never been better partners in peace. They've forged 4 peace agreements together, the Abraham Accords, and those peace agreements were done. Peace through strength, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do. We have, as the prime minister said, they're 99% agree on everything, or they agree on 99% of the items. But just like in families, sometimes you don't agree on some things, but they always work it out. They work it out, and the president has a great way of expressing himself, of course, and the prime minister also expresses himself freely to the president.
Look, I love both guys. I've got relationships with both guys. You know, Trump has been really good to me, and I see Bibi every time I go to Israel. Some function, whether it's Yom Ha'atzmaut, at a winery, or Yom HaZikaron at Mount Herzl, or again last week at JNS. So I love both guys, and they're both great, but 99% may be a high number, Dr. Falk, because just look at the last couple of days with Turkey. I mean, you got President Trump saying nice things about Erdogan. I actually played Trump saying nice things, and then Bibi on Fox News 2 days ago saying he's a terrible guy, and the fear that we may end up selling F-35 jets to Turkey. So I know that you want it to go well with Trump. So do I. I want America and Israel to be best friends. But this Turkey deal the last couple of days didn't seem to make you guys very happy.
Right. So first of all, we've never had a better friend in the White House than President Trump. As for Turkey, they harbor Hamas. They threaten Israel daily. Erdogan calls Jerusalem his city. His foreign minister the other day said that Jews don't have a place in humanity. Turkey threatens Greece, which is a NATO nation. They occupy half of Cyprus, which is an EU country. And, they did absolutely zero in the war against Iran. So these guys should not have F-35s. That's what our position is. And again, the president and the prime minister agree, I would say, on 99% of the issues. And there are things that they don't agree completely upon, and they talk about it.
This is Dr. Ophir Falk, happens to be Bibi Netanyahu's foreign policy advisor. Where are we, Dr. Falk, in this peace deal with Lebanon? Much like the ceasefire between America and Iran, this was kind of a strange ceasefire because it included firing at each other almost every day. And you had a very similar situation with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Where are you actually in that peace deal with the Lebanese?
Well, actually, we struck an historic agreement with Lebanon, fostered by the United States in D.C. Secretary Rubio led that, and we set a trilateral framework for peace between Israel and Lebanon. It's an historic agreement because it's the first time in 45 years that Lebanon actually recognizes the sovereignty of Israel. That's a big deal. Now, we know we don't have a war with Lebanon. We are fighting Hezbollah that's been holding Lebanon hostage for 45 years. Now, how is this deal made possible? We've degraded Hezbollah significantly. They're on their knees. They had 150,000 missiles aimed at us, at our civilians, at our city centers. We've knocked that down to a handful, maybe 8,000 missiles. We still have to take that out. We've taken out 8,000 Hezbollah terrorists since the beginning of this war, and that has enabled the Lebanese government to step up to the plate. If there's one lesson that we've learned from October 7th atrocities, where the Hamas ran into Israel, invaded Israel, and butchered 1,200 innocent people, if we've learned one thing from that, is that we cannot allow genocidal terrorist organizations or regimes anywhere near our border. Not in the south with Hamas, and not in the north with Hezbollah. The main objective of the agreement, all right, the main objective of the agreement is to demilitarize southern Lebanon, to disarm Hezbollah, and that there will be no threat posed to Israel. If we have all that, we have a real chance for peace, an historic peace that will build upon the four Abraham Accord agreements that President Trump led.
So even though you've got a peace plan with Lebanon, if Hezbollah decides to fire on you guys, even though they're in Lebanon, you guys are going to fire back, yes?
No, absolutely, of course. Absolutely. Security for us is number one, and Lebanon understands this as well. Everybody understands that. Lebanon understands that. Of course, the president understands that. If Hezbollah hits us, we're going to hit them much, much harder, for sure.
You know, I saw some frustration with the prime minister a couple of weeks ago when he was speaking on that Sunday night, and I said the same thing here. You know, President Trump, I believe in his heart he does love Israel, loves Bibi. He is, as you said, there's been no president, not even Truman, who's come close to doing for Israel what President Trump has done. There's no question about that, okay? But sometimes when Trump gets aggravated with Bibi, I think people need to remind President Trump that when rockets start flying in Iran or in Beirut, guess who gets hit next? Not Cincinnati, Dr. Falk. Not Brooklyn. Not Sacramento. You poor guys in Tel Aviv, where I just was 2 weeks ago. You are the guys who take the brunt of the fire when, in fact, somebody messes with one of these folks. That puts Bibi and Israel in a much different situation than Trump and the United States. Is that not fair to say?
Well, that's true. That the threat is at our doorstep. But surely the Iranian threat, the nuclear threat, is also a threat to America. They say death to America every day for the past 47 years. They were building ballistic missiles that could eventually reach every city in America. So the threat to America is also real. But of course, the threat to us is much bigger. It's an existential threat that we, thank God, removed for the time being. But we have to be very vigilant. We got to make sure that they don't regroup. And we have to make sure that they don't have any nuclear bombs. Deal or no deal, they cannot have nuclear weapons.
How disappointing is it for you, Dr. Ophir Falk, that here in America, we have this lady, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I used to be friends with her. Now I can't stand her. She was a congressperson. I think you know who she is. And she was on The View, this horrible TV show in America yesterday, going on and on about how Israel is genocidal and all the big donors in America have put Israel first. It's not about America first anymore. It's Israel first, and Israel's killing babies. All that nonsense, which is very widespread in America these days. It's continuing to grow because of the Democrat Party. How do you guys, you and Bibi, feel in Israel when you hear that nonsense?
Well, I think you're right. It is absolutely nonsense. But those who demonize Israel don't stop with Israel. They end up demonizing America too. And I think that's what we're seeing. People that have a problem with Israel and people who have a problem with the Jews, they usually have a problem with America. We see that throughout the whole, everywhere you look at that. So it's not really a problem only with Israel. It's a problem with America.
You're right about that. Last one. I love Bibi. I want him to win every election. And I love Sarah, too. I spent many times with good times with Sarah and the Falks. So the question is very simple. Election coming up, I guess, October. I saw something this morning that some other guy, not worth mentioning, may have edged ahead of Bibi here in the last couple of days in the polls. How confident are you guys? Because, Mark Levin made a speech in Israel, and he said, I want Bibi to win. And Bibi said moments after him, I plan on being here for a long time. How confident are you guys that Bibi will, in fact, win the next election?
Well, hey, the Prime Minister is a fighter, and I would never bet against Netanyahu. That's all I can say.
That's a great answer. Dr. Falk, it's really, really special and great to talk to you. You know how much I love you guys and respect you guys. So continued success there in that beautiful holy land of Israel. And next time I get back, we'll probably be in April. I look forward to seeing you in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you for everything.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. There he is. What a great guy. Senior Policy Advisor for Bibi Netanyahu, Dr. Ophir Falk, making his debut right here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. Thanks to David Menser. We'll take a quick break.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Bibi just did 3 television interviews the last couple of days. Fox News with Brian Kilmeade, CNN with Dana S., and Newsmax with Greta Van Susteren. He seems to like Greta for some reason, Bibi.
I think it's Dana Bash, by the way.
What did I call her?
You called her Dana Ass.
Oh, Ass. Okay, Sorry. But he'll be on this show soon, is what I was told, the Prime Minister. But they loved Falk on the program, and they said I'm outstanding. Talking about outstanding, so is this guy. Just as good as any attorney in the world today. And we've got 3 of them on this show. Him, Joseph Tacopina every Friday, and Alan Dershowitz regularly. So here he is, Arthur Aidala. Artie, good morning. How are you, pal?
Good morning. All right, I'm rehearsing, Sid. How does this sound? Folks, back in 1983, far down on the heights called Diker at Poly Prep, no one thought we would be here today to induct Sid Rosenberg into the Radio Hall of Fame. He was a skinny little kid who was in a carpool with Bruce Sharrett and Joe Tacopina. And
by the way, don't forget George Small. Don't forget George Small.
Right, George Small. Yeah, and his trajectory was not on the path of being in any Hall of the Fame, except maybe the kid who failed out of school Hall of Fame. And yet, here we are, all these years later, so proud of one of Brooklyn's native sons who have risen to the pinnacle of his career. And we all stand and applaud him and his entire family for reaching this achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member to the New York Radio Hall of Fame, Sid Rosenberg. How'd I do?
You're hired. Lou, you're done. That's it.
How was that audition?
That was fantastic. I mean it. That was fantastic.
Congratulations, Artie.
Oh, look how nice Lou is. Look, Lou's not even mad.
I'll standing there 5 minutes before we begin when Sid comes over. Hey, you want to say a few words?
Listen, Artie is in that group of people who need to be considered, and that really was excellent just now. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. That was great. Tacopina, too, both you guys.
It is. Look, it is true, Sid. I was right behind you in terms of trajectories back in the 1980s.
Yeah, all 3 of us. All 3 of us. I mean, Artie, to be honest, all 3 of us, me, you, and Joseph, were voted in the polyglot least likely to succeed. You as well. So really, all 3 of us have exceeded expectations.
They canceled that whole thing back, I think, even right before I graduated, because there used to be a category called Class Amazon. And it has, think about how times have changed. It had to do with a woman in the class who was like the biggest, bulkiest woman. Yeah. And they voted this girl in, and she was hysterically crying. Oh. And that was it. The headmaster, you can't say headmaster, the head of school said, no, we're not doing that one anymore. So, those are the days, Sid. Well, congratulations on it. When you sent me the text that you were getting it, I was like, right on, my man. And, it's going to be a wonderful day for you and your family. I was blessed to get the Bar Association, their addition of the Hall of Fame. And you'll see, as much as you'll be proud of yourself, looking down at Ava and Gabriel, and she'll have to come up from Pennsylvania with her new school. That's what's going to make you proud, because your kids are going to be like, wow, look at this. My dad's in the hall. That's cool stuff.
Thank you, Artie.
We do it all for them at this point, right? We're on our way out. We're on the back nine.
No, listen, there's no back nine. I'm on 13. Way past back nine. I may be on 14, and you're right, and you're a great father, too. And again, that was awesome, that little speech you just wrote, impromptu. That was great. But you talk about my daughter, Ava, and these days, you see my daughter as much as I do.
Yeah, I'm sad. She's splitting. I mean, she's going to such an unbelievable school. I mean, it's a top 4 law school. She's going to get her master's in law, which is a degree higher than anyone you mentioned. I don't even think Dershowitz has a master's in law. I know Takapina and I couldn't even spell master's, let alone achieve master's in law. So her trajectory, unlike ours, is she's headed towards the stars. And it's well deserved. Thank God she has her mother's DNA.
Yes, she does. No question about it. Gabriel, too. He's on his way to doing special things. He's got not one but 2 amazing jobs this summer, both of which I'll share at a later date. The great author Aidala. That's been a tremendous first 6 minutes, Artie, I got to tell you. Let's get to some of these cases people want to hear about. We got about 7 minutes to go. Let's start with Tyler Robinson. I did have my friend Donna Rotuna on the show yesterday. You know Donna very, very well. She's on Fox News just about every day. She's live in Provo, Utah, covering this Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk case. This is a preliminary hearing. They just want to make sure there's enough evidence to charge this guy with murder. And it seems to me, again, a layman, I'm not an attorney, there's a ton of evidence to charge Tyler Robinson. Yes?
Yes. The real question is why the prosecutor chose to go this direction as opposed to and they had the option to what we do here in New York, which is just have a grand jury. Now, in New York, you could have a preliminary hearing like they're doing, but it almost never happens. It's always a secret thing behind closed doors with the grand jury, and they could have done that here. But I think what they wanted to do was show the public, look, this is the overwhelming evidence we have against this guy. And it is a way for the prosecutor to taint the jury pool, which has been the defense attorney's objections. You're putting all of this evidence out there now, evidence, some of it that would not be admitted in the trial, but you're just showing, what an airtight case that you have. So they've done something that would not be done in our area here in terms of geographical area, but they're letting you know, hey, we got materials with his DNA on it. We have videos of him surveying the campus before. We have evidence that he was at the scene. We have statements from his roommate. I mean, they have an absolute overwhelming case. It's probably going to be up to, and this is a guesstimate, Erica Kirk, whether they actually seek the death penalty or they allow him to plead to something where he would serve life without parole.
Right.
Usually prosecutors' offices lean heavily into the deceased family as to what their wishes are. And I believe, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, she's already been out there observing her faith, saying like she forgives him.
She did. Right. She did say that like the day after he was murdered. And, you look at Luigi Mangione in New York and the Thompson family, that nice guy who was murdered. That's what he was, murdered, very cowardly, cold blood. Mangione shot him from behind. They won't have that opportunity here in New York. There'll be no death penalty. They've lost that already. But now you've got not one but 2 cases. You got a state case against Mangione. You got a federal case against Mangione. There's no way this guy doesn't serve the rest of his life behind bars. So why exactly are we wasting our time, Arthur?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Sid. The only thing that Luigi, in my opinion, has going for him is his age. So that hypothetically, if he gets between the 2 jurisdictions, the state and the federal, if he winds up with 50 years, maybe he gets out at 78, 79, 80. But, what kind of life is that? I mean, the evidence there from what we've seen, what's been put on television and the newspaper, you say it's a murder. I mean, it's like an execution, really. I mean, right, the guy's right behind him. It's on video. The evidence that the judge is letting in, the backpack, the journal, the weapon. And then they said, well, we're going to go with a mental disease or defect defense. And then the next day they withdrew it, which is definitely not typical, because when you say you're going with that defense, you're admitting he did it, and then there's the excuse why he did it. So you said for like 20 hours, yeah, he did it, but there's a reason why he did it, and then you pulled it back. So and you're in two very difficult jurisdictions, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and the Southern District of New York. So, yes, I believe Sid Rosenberg's analysis that Mr. Mangione will be spending many, many, many years or several decades behind bars is 100% accurate.
What a low life.
And then in the Eastern District of New York, which is Brooklyn, I'm representing your good friends. I'm representing Frank technically, but Frank and his brother Anthony Carone in a 3-year investigation where they went up every orifice that any human being could have.
Listen, I spoke to, I'm closer with Anthony, but I love Frank too. Curtis Lee was a scumbag doing videos and dancing. I even yelled at Bo, to be honest. I'm very, very close with Anthony, and I do love Frank. And, those guys, they kind of waited every morning for that knock at the door, and they got it. And now here we are. Now, I knew that you represented them in the arraignment. I didn't realize you were their attorney as well, which is great because you're as good as it gets. So I'm glad they've got you.
Yeah.
So tell me about what.
Technically, I'm Frank's attorney. And,
okay.
But Anthony's. Look, there's several lawyers involved. They're all excellent. My biggest problem is I've been friends with Frank since 1996 or 1997. So there's this personal aspect of it, which puts that many more cinder blocks on your shoulders when you're representing someone someone who you were at his daughter's wedding
right.
not that long ago.
Right.
But
no, I got to tell you, I know you know this because I said this to you. I found out about this from Katzmatidis. I was walking to the Western Wall, which they call the Kotel in Jerusalem, to pray. I swear to God. It was my last day in Israel. It was a Wednesday afternoon. And, in fact, I was about to call the radio station, which I did from a little cafe just outside the Western Wall. I started crying. I mean, I was really upset. So, tell me what's going on with this case.
The bottom line is they did a very huge, thorough, long-term investigation. They spoke to everyone around the world of the Carones, everybody, including his priest. I mean, wrap your brain around that one. And they came up with a set of facts, which, again, I have to watch what I say because I'm involved with the case. But let's just say they're not overwhelming. We spoke about Robinson. We talk about Mangione. Whatever that is on the one side of the spectrum, this is on the exact other side of the spectrum in terms of strength of cases. So, there's plenty for good lawyers to work on. Forget about reasonable doubts. There are tons of doubts. And, we're rolling up our sleeves. Frank wants the fastest trial possible.
Yep.
And to get in front of a jury. His exact words were, if anyone says the word plea, they'll be off the legal team. So we're going full steam ahead. Good. And, he's my educated guess, having been doing this since 1992, is everything's going to be okay in the long run.
I love that. Frank and Anthony Carone, good buddies. One more, another guy you're representing who everybody loves, and that is Sergeant Eric Duran. Been quiet. I don't know what you guys are in the midst of some type of appeal. I don't know. What is going on with Vinnie Vallilone's guy, Eric Duran?
Yeah, so Vinny, first of all, if there's any positive that's come out of the Eric Duran thing, it's that my relationship with Vinny, what a good guy.
Great
really,
guy.
On several levels, just a really good guy. I'm happy. I'm thrilled. I have a very my appellate team is very experienced. Diana Fabi was in the Manhattan DA's office in the appellate bureau for 10 years. Judge Barry Cammons has argued more appellate cases than I can count. And Judge John Leventhal was the appellate judge who heard them all. So that trifecta, and I know you're going to love to hear this because you're very close with Harvey Weinstein, that's the trifecta that got Harvey Weinstein's case overturned in a very, very difficult, environment. I mean, look, most people love Eric Duran, right? People with their heads screwed on straight. There's too many people out there, except maybe his own children, who love Harvey Weinstein. So it was a huge hurdle to get that case reversed, just from the public perception point of view. But I will tell you, Judge Cammons, who has been with me over 10 years now in my law firm, I have not seen him so energetic and so motivated about an appeal. And Diana, because most of it's on video, Sid, and it's unlike regular cases where there's a jury, this was a judge's verdict. It was one human being's verdict. So you get to argue the facts to the appellate court. So you get to retry the case to the appellate court. You don't normally, 95% of the time, you don't get to do that. You talk about the law. Here we're going to get to talk about the facts and how all Eric was doing when he acted that day was saving the lives of at least 2 police officers and 1 civilian. The video shows that. And that case, we have to submit our brief in August. They'll probably get theirs back in November. And my guess is that case is going to be argued January, February, and then you got to wait for the court's decision. The best part, though, is one of the judges on the appellate division has let Eric Durant stay at liberty during this process. So he's home. He's with his family. He's a great guy. And we are really digging in deep to make sure he gets exonerated.
Let him know New York loves him like they love you. This was an amazing. I mean, you're always great. You're great at this. You're great on TV. You're great at this. Was one of your best ever, I got to say, Artie. So thank you so much for the other.
Because you like the way I introduced you.
Yes.
Yes. Your Hall of Fame introduction.
Right. You could have gotten.
Everyone's fighting over it. I mean, I just assume Trump is doing it, right? Isn't Trump going to introduce you into the Hall of Fame?
I am not at liberty to share that yet. He just got home from Turkey. He's a little tired. But on a serious note, you were great. Really, really great. Arthur Aidala, I love you. Thank you so much.
Boy. Congrats on everything. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Great job. There he is, the amazing defense attorney, Arthur Aidala, back on Sid and Friends in the morning. And we still have 3 more great guests to go. Maybe the most recognizable congressman in the business. Sorry, Mike Lawler. Jim Jordan out of the great state of Ohio. Bill O'Reilly, the great Bill O'Reilly, the best ever.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Here she is, making her return to Sid and Friends in the morning, the great Laura Loomer. Loomer, good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning. Thanks for having me on again.
It's great to have you, even though, again, you got me in all kinds of trouble with Kaploon. You know, I got an invitation to this Shabbat dinner last Friday night, but I was upstate with my mother by Monticello. We had a great July 4th weekend and went to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers on Saturday at Bethel Woods. Great weekend. Thank you, Eric Francis. So I was going to go to D.C., but I was invited to this big Shabbos dinner, and Kaploon was him, a few other people. I don't recognize their names. But you tweeted yesterday that at this dinner, and I don't know how you justify this, at this dinner were a bunch of folks from Qatar. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. You know, what's really interesting about this is it's supposed to be an America 250 Shabbat, and it was hosted by the State Department. And look, I get along with Yehuda Kaplan. He is the U.S. Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. But several of the attendees of the event actually reached out to me and told me they felt very uncomfortable because sitting at the dinner, and I was told that this individual was actually invited to sit at the head of the table, was the head of the Qatari embassy in Washington, D.C. His name is Sheikh Mashal bin Hamad Al Thani. And this is an individual who is on the record, supporting Qatar, defending their support of Hamas and Qatar hosting Hamas, even in the immediate aftermath and also in the weeks leading up to the October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks. And, it's no surprise to anybody who's paying attention that a lot of the chaos that we're seeing in our country right now, whether it be the radical left protests or Palestinian activism, activism with air quotes, of course, and the Islamification of America and a lot of the anti-Jewish sentiment and especially the anti-Semitism on college campuses that we've seen across our country over the last several years really reach a breaking point, a boiling point. Said Qatar funds all of this. Qatar is the largest donor to American universities, and they're not supporting American education. They're not supporting American pro-Western sentiment on these college campuses. They're supporting Islamic studies. They're supporting radical left organizations, Students for Justice in Palestine, and they're supporting the tenure for professors who promote this culture of Jew hatred and support for Islamic terrorism on college campuses. And we've seen that, there seems to be this really big issue where, look, I voted for President Trump. I support President Trump. I love President Trump. But there's no denying the overwhelming Islamic influence that is in this administration. It seems like every single member of this administration, every single cabinet member has, for some reason, right? I don't know why Qatar needs to have a meeting with every cabinet member, but for some reason, the Qataris are organizing meetings with nearly every single Trump cabinet member. I mean, every single week, it seems like another Muslim leader is being invited to the Oval Office or the White House for a meeting. Or, we're being told that Qatar is going to serve as a mediator for, every single conflict that this administration seems to deal with. So I think that we need to believe people when they show us who they are the first time. And the Qataris can't be trusted. Even President Trump himself in 2017 said that Qatar was the largest state sponsor of Islamic terrorism, and they haven't stopped. They still host all of the leadership of Hamas and the Taliban in Doha, where they are living in very expensive, luxurious penthouses and receiving protection from the Emir of Qatar. And, we were told that, President Trump is controlled by the Jews. The Israelis control everything. Mossad, right? Everybody wants to say that Netanyahu controls every aspect of our country. That's the left's new go-to line. And these DSA candidates, these Islamic communist candidates, they love saying that, the Jews control everything, right? I think even Egypt is blaming the Jews for their World Cup loss. Right?
They were.
I mean, it seems like they were. I mean, I'm not even making this up. So the reality is there's a sickness in our country, and when you look at the lobby that actually does control everything, it's not the Jewish lobby, it's not AIPAC, it's not Netanyahu, it's actually the Qatari lobby. They own enormous amounts of real estate in Washington, D.C., right? They practically own half of London. They are sponsors of nearly every single event in America. You can't watch a World Cup game without seeing Qatar Airways completely plastered all over every single soccer stadium as the World Cup is being hosted here in the United States of America. You can't go to a think tank function in Washington, D.C. without it being sponsored by the Qatari embassy. The Qatari embassy sponsors, the FIFA World Cup party announcing the World Cup in the U.S. They sponsor everything. I mean, they gave the president a plane. Right? They gave him a plane. They gave our country. Right? It's being used by our country.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like it's the president. It's not the president's personal plane. But now there were reports last year about them having their own air base in Idaho. Yep. The Qatari influence, right? Whether it's Qatari, Pakistani, Iranian, there's too much. There's too much Islamic influence, and I personally think that it's making a lot of people who voted for the administration very uncomfortable. And I'm always going to support the president. I would never, be disloyal to the president. But I just want to remind his administration that one of the key reasons why so many people voted for him in 2016 was because of the Syrian invader crisis in our country that was leading to nearly daily ISIS terrorist attacks on U.S. soil. These sleeper cell ISIS terrorists, and Hillary Clinton wanted to bring all of these people into our country. And now, yesterday President Trump lifted sanctions on Syria. Well, who's in charge of Syria? You have a ISIS terrorist. You have Golani, who was literally wanted by our country until May of 2025 when he met with the president in Saudi Arabia.
And that's Syria.
I want to remind the administration that yes, while there may be, I don't personally believe that the polling is correct on this. While there may be some overwhelming anti-Israel sentiments, I think a lot of it is astroturfed by bot campaigns on social media. A large portion of the base, most of the MAGA base, voted for the president because of his hardline stance on Islam. We went from the president saying that Qatar is the largest sponsor of Islamic terrorism in the world and that Islam hates us. He's literally on video saying Islam hates us, to now, the Emir and Erdogan are his friends. So, look, I understand that he has to be diplomatic. He's the president of the United States. And, you have to take meetings with a lot of very unfortunate people. And most of these Muslim world leaders are very unfortunate people. But still, I don't think that we need to be complimenting them and saying such nice things about these people who, they certainly are not friends or allies of the United States of America.
That's been my issue, too. I get it, I guess. He keeps his enemies closer, I guess. But to go out of your way to compliment them, like you said, and no, we did not vote for this. And, I do the same thing you just did. I preface everything with I love the guy. And some of my fans, and I've got a lot of them, they're like, enough already. stop prefacing every critique of President Trump with, I love the guy, because if you love him so much, you wouldn't be criticizing him as much as I have. And I have, Laura, for the last 3 weeks between Iran, that's been a mess. A complete mess.
Well, no, we criticize it because we love them. I mean, look, it's very dangerous. These people are incredibly dangerous, and anybody.
So why is he doing it?
Anybody who actually studies Islam knows these people lie. They're taught to lie, right? The concept of taqiyya. They are allowed to lie to non-Muslims for the sake of advancing the cause of Islam. And we went from hearing the vice president talk about how agreeable the Iranians were and, oh, wow, they're going to respect this MOU. They're going to follow this ceasefire. They're going to respect us to them. This weekend at Khamenei's funeral, openly calling for the assassination of Donald Trump, to the point where yesterday he said, look, they could kill me at any time. I'm number one on their hit list. So why are we entertaining the Qataris and treating the Qataris with so much respect when, they're enabling, right? They're enabling the Iranians, they're enabling the IRGC, and they're enabling all of Iran's proxies. These people don't respect the president. They want to kill the president. And if you don't believe me, just go look at the coverage from this weekend. They had speakers at Khamenei's funeral that were calling for Trump to be killed. They have banners at his funeral. They were parading posters of me and President Trump with a target sign on our head that says your heads are going to be chopped off. They're not just calling for Trump's assassination. They're calling for the assassination of some of his most prominent Jewish supporters in America, including me. So, it's I think that it's not only a national security risk. It's a threat to the safety of the president, but it's also a threat to the safety of U.S. citizens. And, they have a duty to not just protect our country, but also protect American citizens and civilians. And these IRGC members are now targeting civilians who support the president and support more retaliation against Iran. And they have shown countless times again that they hire hitmen. We just had a case in New York City not too long ago. They hired a Pakistani national. Iran hired a Pakistani national, Asif Mirshan, who tried to assassinate Donald Trump ahead of the 2024 presidential election. So he was indicted, he was convicted, he was charged. Everybody can look it up and see for themselves. That happened in New York City. So they will do it again. They've killed people on U.S. soil before. They have hired hit people to kill Americans, and they will keep on doing it. We have millions of these Muslim sleeper cells in America, and they will be activated.
I agree with you, and not just you. That's when I contacted you, because I did see your picture right there, just as big as Trump's picture, with that red dot right between your eyes. Lindsey Graham, my friend Ben Shapiro, about to have a baby, him too. But I certainly contacted you right after I saw that, and it is very scary and disheartening to know that the Iranians know not just Trump, but civilians like you who support the president. You talk about saying nice things. I got about 2 minutes to go about the Qataris and about Erdogan and even the Iranian regime not that long ago, and he's doing the same thing with the mayor in New York City, who was just one of the worst people that God ever created. And again, I'm being told, Sid, he's got a plan. It's 5D chess, blah, blah, blah. And again, I love Trump just as much as you do, but I can't figure out. I'm trying. Trust me, Loomer, I'm trying. I can't figure out what the plan is because Mamdani's been in power for 6 months. He's already destroying this city. And I'm still getting, he's a handsome, nice guy. What the hell is that all about?
Right. Look, I don't know. I support the president, but I was not happy when I saw Mamdani in the Oval Office. And they asked, oh, Mr. President, do you agree with Elise Stefanik that Mamdani's a jihadi? And he said, no, I don't. And then they said, would you feel comfortable living in the city run by Mamdani? And he said, yes, I would. So I have no idea. I don't understand what the plan is. Look, Mamdani is a jihadi, and I warned the White House, I warned President Trump, too, that Mamdani would win. And then I think a lot of the people that work for the president and his political team said, oh, there's no way this guy will ever get elected. But the same thing's going to happen in Michigan. You have this freak Abdul al-Sayed, who supports the Muslim Brotherhood, who's about to become the Democrat Senate nominee. I mean, all they want to do is use Israel and Jews and AIPAC as a buzzword to try to make it seem like, that's the worst thing in the world. And, I'm certainly not an advocate for AIPAC, right? I have no relation to AIPAC, but are we really going to gaslight Americans into believing that a PAC supported by American citizens who support Israel's right to exist is worse than the views of these anti-American Muslim candidates who are openly saying they're using the American flag as a napkin to wipe their dirty hands, or supporting terrorists that try to storm Jewish day schools and saying that, well, maybe the Jews had it coming because, well, the IDF is bombing Gaza, as Abdul al-Sayed said. I mean, these are real people who are actually going to get elected to the United States Senate, and they're going to have legislative authority. It's very dangerous, and they'll have access to classified information, and God only knows what will happen to our country. And look, we're only going to have Trump in the White House for another 2 years if he's not impeached by the Democrats, if we lose the House and the Senate, if they take over. All these communist Muslim candidates have said that they're running for office to get Trump. They want to abolish ICE because they want all their illegal alien Muslim friends to stay in America so they can implement their Islamic caliphate and murder as many Americans as possible. And then they want to impeach Trump. They want to impeach Trump, and they want to have their communist takeover of America so that they can pack the Supreme Court. And they will pack the Supreme Court so that they can change the United States Constitution, because honestly, I truly believe that their end goal is to change our Constitution to allow for foreigners to be president of the United States.
Mamdani, he's already said it.
Mamdani.
Yeah, he could be the guy.
Mamdani is everything Obama was, but couldn't admit to be. A foreign-born, right, African-born, Kenyan Muslim, communist. This is what we all said he was. And Donald Trump was the main person who said this, right? He offered $5 million for Obama's birth certificate. And he said he's a communist, he's a Muslim, he's born in Kenya. And then they tried to shame him when he ran for president and said, oh, that's birtherism, you're not allowed to say it. Everybody knows Obama was born in Kenya. Everybody knows Obama is a Muslim. Everybody knows that guy was not born in the United States of America. And now, right, we were told that this was so taboo back in 2008. But look at Mamdani, right? This is everything that the Democrats tried to force in the door in 2008 with Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, but they couldn't get away with it because Americans just weren't ready for it. But now, you say, oh, here's this African. He was born in Uganda, and he's been a U.S. citizen for 8 years, and he supports terrorism, and he's a communist. He's going to be in charge of the largest city in America. They want this guy to be president someday. They have made him the face of the Democrat Party. And if the Democrats take over, they will pack the court and change our Constitution, and the Republican will never win again. You already saw Amy Coney Barrett completely screwed our country, allowing for, the birthright citizenship executive order to be struck down. Now our country is basically a dumping ground for every pregnant illegal alien that decides they want to give birth or spread their legs and deliver a kid on our soil. So, look, we're being conquered, and I don't think a lot of Americans realize we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and we have a Muslim mayor. It's shameful.
It really is grotesque. I've actually been playing clips every day. I started Monday. I vowed after we celebrated our 250th birthday on Saturday, I was going to move right to 9/11. So I've been playing clips every day. Started Monday right up to that 9/11 day here in 2026 because I'm so aggravated about our jihad terrorist Muslim mayor that he's going to be sitting there, right there, maybe next to Rudy Giuliani, the beautiful Rudy Giuliani, on that sacred soil. It's he probably won't even go.
I wouldn't be surprised if he jets off to Mallorca with his wife for another. What is it? She went to Mallorca for an Islamic spiritual event, right? So he probably won't even go.
You're right.
Just like he boycotted the Israel parade, he'll say that it's Islamophobic to recognize the 25th anniversary. So
I think
maybe he'll take a flying class and try to get his pilot's license, in honor of 9/11. Who knows?
Loomer, you are such an important voice. I really think you're spectacular. Your Twitter, you got to follow her at Laura Loomer. And all you do, Laura, and I mean this, is tell the truth. That's all you do. You tell the truth.
I just tell the truth. And they hate me so much. They say the same things that they say about you, but I'm just telling the truth. I'm just asking questions, right? They're all allowed to ask questions, but I'm not allowed to, apparently.
So, no, you are, and you're hugely...
We have to...
We got to keep fighting.
We need to start taking this seriously because it's getting very scary. And when these people say, oh, the radical candidates are going to be easier, let's have the radical the communists and the Muslims be the candidates that we want the Republicans to run against. I don't know why the GOP is so naive. They seem to think these candidates are easier. They're not easier. Okay, our country's been so invaded. They have no idea how many people from these countries, illegal aliens, and people who have never voted in their life, who actually are now U.S. citizens, unfortunately, the children of immigrants who haven't voted, who are waiting to vote for an immigrant who supports communism and open borders and abolishing ICE and changing our Constitution. They have no idea because they've been lying to everybody about the real numbers. There's not 11 million illegal aliens in our country. There's over 65 million illegal aliens in our country. And Marco Rubio, in addition to the 65 million, told us last year that there are 55 million people living in America who qualify for deportation because of visa violations. That's not even including illegal aliens. That's not including. That's not even including the illegal aliens. So that's 120 million people. Okay, out of nearly 400 million people.
That's way too many. Yeah,
do the math.
That's a third, about a third. That's way too many. Loomer, I got to run.
20 million people.
Yeah, it's way too much. I got Bill O'Reilly coming up next, but you were brilliant today as always. Really, really amazing stuff. Please keep coming back. You're such an important voice, and stay safe. Excellent job, Laura Loomer. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
God bless you, Laura. Laura Loomer right there. Sid and Friends in the morning. She's terrific. We'll take a short break, come back, and the best ever, Bill O'Reilly.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, he was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best, whether it's at this time on Thursdays with me, Mondays with Katz and Cosby, or, of course, every morning at about 7:30 on this radio station. He's got his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. Great interviews, great stories. It's just great television every day. Great writer, all those killing series books, and the book on the presidents confronting evil. His brand new book is coming out again, like most years, around Danielle's birthday, late September. Does all that great stuff on News Nation with Chris Cuomo, and has his own amazing podcast. Do it live. Bill O'Reilly. Nice to see, Bill, that you're slowing down here in your later years.
Yeah, and I didn't get any sleep last night. Ready?
Yes.
Listen to this. So I'm out on eastern Long Island, right?
Yeah.
And about 200 yards from my house, there's a SWAT team of cops with all the lights going on. I said, whoa, what's going on? You know what it was?
What?
A turtle crossing.
Stop
and we're
it.
not talking about happy together.
Come on.
We're talking about real turtle.
Come on.
No. And they must have had, the cops outnumbered the turtles like 30 to 1.
Oh, come on.
So the turtles, they have to shut down the road.
Come on.
To get the turtles from one side of the road to the other.
Wow.
And, you know, the turtles are having the time of their life. Look at all this. This is great. Anybody got a bagel?
That's great, though. It goes to show you
so-
how safe it is out there that requires police and not a dead body in the street like we get here in the by boroughs, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, the turtles are harmless. There's a few of them on parole, but not many.
Talking about homeless and on parole, the guy that just won the primary in Maine could easily be both. You know, he kept going on and on about what he won yesterday. Well, he won nothing. He won the primary, yes, but he made it sound like he already beat Susan Collins. He was losing. He was losing to Susan Collins. And by the way, that's why the Democrats turned on him. It had nothing to do with rape. They did the same thing with Eric Swalwell. It wasn't until he could have cost them the gubernatorial they decided to turn against him. These Democrats have proven time and time again they don't care about women. Sonny Hostin is on The View yesterday saying, I still vote for this guy. Nothing to do with rape. When it became clear he probably was not going to beat Susan Collins, all of a sudden the Democrats went berserk and they kicked him out. Not us. The hell was he talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about. I never listened to him one iota. The guy plies oysters out of the bay. I mean, I'm sorry. This isn't John Adams, okay? And then he's got a Nazi tattoo. Now, if you have a Nazi tattoo for 16 years, you're a psycho.
Yes.
Let me make it real clear, okay? You're not disturbed. You're not misled. You are a psycho.
Yes.
So everybody knows that. But what is interesting about the Democratic Party now is they're desperate. So they'll probably lose the Senate seat in Maine, which they thought they had.
Yeah.
All right. And Maine has changed so much. I don't know why. I'm going to have to go up there and figure it out. Nice state, but they're loons now.
They're crazy up
this
there.
Guy was not qualified.
No.
He was not going to do anybody any good at all. And so why are you nominating and voting for him? And then you get silence. But the media is another thing. So the media, they don't know what to do either. They're backing the Democrats, of course. But they don't know how to contextualize any of this. So what you get is, well, Trump's a racist, a rapist. That's what you get. That's their primary sign on, sign off, CNN, MS, all the others.
Which, by the way, I want to remind people is not true. My dear friend Joseph Tacopina represented Trump in that Jean Carroll. And it cost George Stephanopoulos $15 million when that moron called him a rapist. He's not a rapist.
Right. And anybody stepping back and looking at the case knows this was a civil suit. It was politically motivated. I mean, when the attorney general of the state says, hey, if you vote for me, I'm going to get this guy. All right? Do you need any more than that? So anyway, but as you know, the mantra is, you can't criticize the guy in Maine because the president is a rapist.
Yeah, right. Sure he is. No, the president's a lot of things. I know. I see. The president is a lot of things. He ain't a rapist. He, for the most part, is a great guy and a great president. But I've been doing this a lot the last couple of weeks. Iran, he's confused the hell out of me. Turkey, he's confused the hell out of me. The way he treats Mamdani, he's confusing the hell out of me. I know I'm supposed to buy trust the man, trust the plan, which I've done for the most part of 10 years, and I still do. At the end of the day, let me make it very, very clear. I love him. I think he's the best president. I don't want anybody else in that seat. But at the very least, Bill O'Reilly, at the very least, he's got me asking a lot of questions lately. A lot.
Well, I don't trust any politicians, number one. But I have a unique access to President Trump, who's never lied to me, ever, in 35 years. So I ask him a question, I get an answer. And that's the value that I bring to journalism, because I can tell the nation, here's why he's doing what he's doing. Here's why. Now you take it or leave it. So in this case with Iran, the miscalculation was we will be able to kill their leadership, which happened, and then the Persians will rise up and we'll have a civilized nation. Did not happen.
Well, it can't happen. They're not armed. These people were murdered in the streets, and it did not happen.
But if you read Confronting Evil, I dealt with the Shah's overthrow.
Yeah.
And that's when the mullahs came in.
Right. It's different now.
You can do a general strike.
It's different
where
now.
Nobody works. Nobody comes out of the house.
Right.
You can do a lot of things without arms.
Yeah.
Okay. But there didn't seem to me the drive for freedom inside Iran. Some people paid their ultimate price. They were murdered. And that was the message. The mullahs, you get out of line, we find out, we're going to kill you. And that's a pretty big inhibitor. Okay. But it was part of the war scenario. It did not work. So then the president says, okay, we pivot. And the pivot is we're going to try to make a deal. And Trump is very confident, as you know, in his deal-making abilities. And the deal is we'll give you enough money to start to develop your private industry and feed your people if you just knock it off in Hormuz and let the weapons inspectors go in once a month and monitor what you're doing. Okay? And the Iranians won't take the deal. They won't do it. So now there's only one scenario left, only one. You have to downgrade the nation so it cannot function. And that's what is underway.
That has been, and I'm not a genius, okay, but I've been very adamant about this for 3 months. That has been the only option for 3 months, okay? Again, Midnight Hammer, tremendous. We basically wiped out their ability to make that dust with those centrifuges into nuclear war. Okay, so Midnight Hammer, amazing. Even day one, that Saturday morning, Operation Epic Fury, very good. We have spent the last couple of months stuck, no matter what President Trump says. We're not winning anything, and that has been our only option, Bill O'Reilly, because I've only said it 100 times for the last 3 months. That's it.
Well, now, because the Iranians fired on the 3 ships, so Trump has gone to hyper plan B. We are going to downgrade the nation. We're going to blow up their infrastructure. And you see the pictures, you say. But what's interesting about a couple of things. Number one, Europe is a little cowed now. So you saw that in Turkey.
Yeah.
Trump has the press conference by himself. Most of the leaders in Europe making nice to him. You know, Spain suddenly says, oh, yeah, we'll pay our dues now. Okay. So they realize that Trump's got 2.5 more years in office. They're cozying up to him. They're not opposing what he's doing in Iran. There's very little NATO opposition to that. But here in America, you got a lot of it. And that's the Democratic Party that senses the affordability issue is going to override knocking out the most dangerous people on the planet. And I say that because they are aggressively trying to get a nuclear weapon. And there's no other reason than to cause destruction.
Yeah.
There's no other reason.
But they admit it. They flat out said it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now, you know, when I was on Cuomo a couple of weeks ago, he wouldn't admit, oh, they don't have the nukes. What? And then the mullah comes out and goes, yeah, we have them.
Yeah, we got
and
it.
We need them because Israel's going to attack us or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's the same old thing. But the Democratic Party is never going to cede anything to Trump, anything, ever, okay? Whether it's Maine, whether anything. And now they're affordability, okay? They believe that's going to override any other issue because people are having trouble paying their bills.
Right, but the Republicans are smart. They could make that backfire on the Democrats and say, hey, yeah, we're with you. Affordability, you're right. Oh, by the way, who caused the affordability crisis? Oh, you guys. Oh, that's right. Remember when Joe Biden was president, inflation was 12%, interest rates were going up 0.5 point every couple of weeks, eggs were $10. You guys caused it. We're with you. It's all about affordability. You guys put us here. How about that?
Yeah, but Americans don't respond to history like that or analysis like that. They go, how much do I have to spend when I'm going into the grocery store?
That's true. You're right. You're right.
Okay, so you're not looking at, you know, a PhD political science class here. You're looking at pure emotion.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
I shook everybody up in social media and the News Nation last night when I said affordability is an interesting word. Whose fault is it that you, the American citizen, don't have $1,000 in the bank to pay for a catastrophe? Whose fault is that? And there's silence. I said, do you want the government to assure your income? Is that what you're asking? Because that's what the communists want. All right, you're not going to get much, but they'll assure it. I said, you know, I've been working since I'm 10 years old. Since I'm bleeding 10 years old. Shoveling snow, this and that. My father, one of the few times I ever listened to him, was he goes, every dime you have in your pocket, you save 10% of that. You put it in a bank. And then when you get older, you're going to invest it, which I did. And sometimes it was painful because I wasn't making a lot of money. But then I would work another job. I was a bouncer at the rec bar, okay, while I was teaching high school. All right, and I knew I wasn't making enough money. I knew that. So I looked for ways to make more money. And that's the beauty of America, is there are plenty of ways. There's free community colleges. There are free tech centers that'll train you. What do you have to do? And so I'm putting the onus of the affordability problem on the individual American. If you're not smart enough to figure out you have no money, then we understand why you have no money. All right? I mean, I worked at Carvel. And today you can make a pile of dough driving an Uber.
Yep.
All right? So there's a responsibility if the economics is overwhelming you, and I would say that's about 25, maybe 30% of America. They say they're worried, but overwhelming, that's where you are. Make more money.
Yeah. Yeah, but then what you're asking Americans to do, and we're bad at this, is be accountable for your own lack of success. It's so much easier to blame the white man or the Jews or Trump.
Victimization, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's not our fault, that I'm a black guy and, the whites are keeping me down and Trump hates me and I'm a gay guy. And, it's tiring. I do want to ask you this on the way out. This has been brilliant, as always. Somebody was telling me this week, Sid, you spend a lot of time talking about communism and Mamdani and the DSA, and you do realize that makes up a very, very small percentage of the Democrat Party, that most Democrats, the overwhelming amount of Democrats, are not crazy like that. They may not be moderate, but they're not crazy like that. I say, wait a second. I don't care what the number is. They're taking over. And they have plans. If you just heard Laura Loomer, she's 1,000% right. Call her crazy as much as you want. She's 1,000% right. So I don't care about the numbers necessarily right now, Bill, because to me, they are the future. What about you?
All of the dictatorial regimes in the last 100 years did not have popular support. So that's again, in confronting evil. So the Nazis topped out at about 42%. That's why Hitler dissolved the entire government and made every political party inside Germany illegal except for National Socialism, because he knew he wasn't going to get the mandate of the people. Mao just killed you. Are you communists? No, kill them. Stalin did the same thing. Fidel basically put you in a gulag, all right? So there has never been a popular wave of communism or even socialism. Never. But the history, the lack of understanding, and you don't need the folks anymore when you have George Soros, who's already pumped more than $100 million into the midterms already. And this guy Singham in Shanghai working with the Beijing government, pumping even more money into our system, and a compliant media that enables this. Just last night, Cuomo goes, Mandami's not a communist.
What?
I went, hello?
What?
He's trying to control the methods of production.
Everything.
In New York City.
Everything. What did he call him?
That's what he wants to do.
What
And
did
you're telling me what
did he call him, Chris?
I'm looking at him, and Cuomo believes in his heart that Mandami is not a communist.
He's a moron.
Why?
Yeah, he's a moron.
Because he wants to believe that.
Yeah, he's a moron. That's why.
Well, I would never do that. I don't think Chris Cuomo's a moron.
I think he's a moron.
But he doesn't want to believe that Mamdani is a communist, even though Mamdani, every move the man has made since the election, all right, has been to control the means of production in New York City, whether it be rent, whether it be food, whether it be transportation, whether it be you can't have a pied-à-terre, you got to pay this, you got every blanket move. We, City Hall, want to control the means of production. And that's communism.
100%. There's nothing to argue. I'm sorry. You can't deny it because you don't want to believe it. You're a journalist. You're on TV. Well, you're a moron. You're on TV. All right? You got a responsibility to be smarter than that. And you just laid out.
Look, Newsom and Pritzker and all of these governors, Hochul you can throw, but Hochul doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know where she is half the time, okay? But you can put them in. They don't care.
True.
They want to win.
True.
And if they have to peddle affordability. What are you going to do in Illinois? Are you giving everybody a check so they can go into the grocery store and get what they want? Is that what you're doing? You have no money.
Nope. Ay, what a mess. Bill O'Reilly, this was a spectacular conversation as always. This is why you're the best of all time. I love you. Thank you so much. We'll do it again next week. Excellent job, Bill. Thank you.
All right, and the turtles say hello.
Yeah, be careful. Watch out for those turtles there in Montauk. Bill O'Reilly, amazing job. We love you, Bill O'Reilly. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Nobody's got the news. Congressman Jim Jordan still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Out of the great state of Ohio, our dear friend Jim Jordan. Jim, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. I didn't, what you were talking about intestinal problems and the guy who won't stop saying, you learn everything on your show, man. You can get it all here. I was like, what is this?
I know. God, I know. It is true, though. We do it all here, whether it's news, politics, sports, diarrhea. We do it all. Jim, I do want to get to the big weekend, the America 250 celebration. I thought President Trump's speech was magnificent, in direct contrast, mind you, to the mayor's speech here in New York, where he sat behind George Washington's desk. He put it backwards. He had a bunch of really nasty-looking people. It was just unbelievable, Jim. But for the most part, the America 250 was amazing.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because it's an amazing country. I mean, my wife and I shared this story yesterday. My wife and I went to see the stage production of 1776. Nice. A few weeks back, and what those guys did when they signed that document declaring to the world why it was appropriate to, at the time, commit treason, what they did and started and launched this amazing experiment in liberty we call America, the greatest country ever. The 250 celebration has been amazing because the country's amazing, and President Trump understands that from everything that took place on the Mall to the UFC fight, for goodness sake, that was unbelievable. It's a great place, and we should all remember that, and frankly remember the sacrifices that those guys made 250 years ago, and all the other folks in uniform and everything else who've made sacrifices for this special place.
Continue to make sacrifices, Iran even today. You mentioned treason, and I mentioned Mamdani, and they go together like a good steak and a good beer. You know what I'm saying? And this, I just had this conversation with Bill O'Reilly that the numbers may not be big, Jim Jordan, but this communist takeover, and that's what it is. Sorry, Chris Cuomo, communist, okay? This communist takeover may be small in numbers now, but it is growing every day across this country. And if you're an American, you should be scared. No?
Yeah, no, I agree. We may have said this the last time we were on, or recently. I had said that the once great party of FDR and JFK is now anti-Israel and socialist or communist. I mean, it's the left has taken it over the party. And again, not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls the party is. And you're seeing that in primary after primary, so much so. And I think we talked about this there in New York. Dan Goldman, impeachment counselor, handpicked by Adam Schiff to come in and be the counselor to do the deposition. I sat in these depositions because I was there with our chief counsel from the Judiciary Committee when we got moved to the Intelligence Committee 7 years ago during that 4-month time frame when Adam Schiff was doing this all in secret. Dan Goldman was his guy, was the impeachment counselor for him and the committee. After that's over, he goes back to New York, runs for Congress, wins, and then runs again and gets beat a few weeks ago by 30 points. Even Dan Goldman, impeachment counselor, is not good enough for the radical left, which now, unfortunately, I think controls, again, the once great party of FDR and JFK.
You're right. I mean, I actually found myself rooting for Dan Goldman, and I can't stand him. Yeah, I rooted for him. Yeah, right? Because Brad Lander is such a bad guy. This is the great Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Let's get to Iran. I know Trump is smarter than me, and so are you for that matter, Jim. But I've been saying for 3 months, really right after Operation Epic Fury, I said this a million times this morning on Fox News 2 weeks ago to Rachel Campos. Mm-hmm. I thought Midnight Hammer was a huge success. Huge. Mm-hmm. I thought Operation Epic Fury that Saturday morning was a huge success. But I really feel like, and I've been complaining about it almost every day as much as I love Trump, the last couple of months, we've been stuck. We've done nothing. We've done nothing. And Iran is sticking around. I keep asking the president to do what he doesn't want to do, which is just blow these guys up. Just do it already. Maybe we're there now. I hope we are. But that's how I feel, Jim. Those 2 exercises were amazing. But the last couple of months, we've been stuck.
Well, those 2 exercises were amazing because they were consistent with what President Trump told the American people he was going to do if, in fact, he was president. He said, if I'm elected, I will make sure Iran doesn't get nuclear capability. As long as that is our primary focus, as long as that is the objective, the goal, the thing that we're striving to get to, then I think the American people understand that, because you cannot let this regime, the most evil regime on the planet, the largest state sponsor of terrorism. We've heard all these facts, but they've been doing terrible things for 47 years, killing Americans, killing Israelis, killing other people, killing thousands of their own people. Sid, they are so bad. Wrestling is my background is in the sport of wrestling, and in Iran, wrestling is big. It is one of their key sports.
Yeah,
they took that 19-year-old junior champion, one of their up-and-coming star athletes in one of their key sports, and they hung him publicly because he had the nerve to protest against the regime.
That's right.
That's how evil this place is. So making sure they don't get a nuclear weapon and that I think is what we have to talk about as Republicans. This is what the objective is, and as long as it stays there, the other things, if they happen, they happen. But it shouldn't be our goal to have regime change and all the other things. It seems to me the goal should be real simple: make sure they don't get a nuclear weapon, because a nuclear weapon can do all kinds of damage to our best friend and ally, the state of Israel, and can do damage to our other allies in Europe and potentially America. So that is what the president is focused on, and I believe he makes decisions that are in the best interest of the country, and he's going to make sure they do not get a nuclear weapon.
And again, Midnight Hammer almost made sure of that, because we really wiped out their centrifuges that night. The Iron Sheik, I remember talking about wrestling, Jim. His whole job was to piss off the country, and he did it pretty well till they caught him. They caught him in the van partying with Hacksaw Jim Dugan right before they had their big fight at Madison Square Garden. But he was a great character for wrestling, the Iron Sheik. Talking about Iran and these other countries, we're seeing this too, Jim. And I know you guys in Congress are working specifically on this. Illegal immigrant workers, tons of them. Tons and tons in every big metro area. Are you telling me there's not enough Americans to do these jobs?
Well, and I think there was a recent story that says because of the number of illegals that have been in the country. Remember, it was almost 10 million in the 4 years of the Biden administration. That there's so many people come in. That's one of the things that's driving up the cost of housing. It makes it tough for young couples, newlyweds, and young couples who are in young families to be able to purchase a home. And the president, I think, has talked about this, and I saw a news story on this recently. So there's all these concerns there, not to mention illegal migrants who come into these sanctuary cities, these sanctuary jurisdictions, and commit other crimes. And you got the soft on crime prosecutors who won't prosecute them. In fact, we had a hearing a few weeks ago where Descano, the prosecutor there in Fairfax County, just outside of D.C., a county of 1.8 million people, he was taking into account the immigration status, the deportation status of people who commit crimes, and making less charges, better plea agreements with those individuals than he does for an American who commits the same crime. That is just not how our Constitution is supposed to work, for goodness sake. So this is the crazy mindset of today's left. And I think this will be center stage in this upcoming midterm election. They're the party that embraces these crazy concepts and policies. We're the party of common sense.
All right, 3 quick ones. We'll let you on. The amazing congressman doing a great job. Are you good with us selling F-35s to Turkey?
I think you got to be careful. I mean, I know the president said he's considering that. I think it should be careful consideration, because I do get concerned about our friend and ally, the state of Israel. So I think you got to be careful about that. I don't know if the president's made a decision. I know he talked about that when he was in Turkey with the NATO meetings. But we'll I would want to see more before we let that happen. But I think it's we got to take into account what I think our good friend Israel and our best ally in the Middle East understands about this issue.
That's a great answer. Exactly what I wanted, Jim. Thank you. I just got back from Israel for the 5th time in the last 2.5 years, so I'm right with you. Look, good news. We talk about all the illegal immigrants' jobs here in America. How about the manufacturing that President Trump has brought back? Another thing that he promised that he has delivered on. Look at Apple, about to invest $30 billion in U.S. chips. That's a big one, Jim, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And, the old line about Ohio, where I'm at now, I'm actually up in the Cleveland area today. Our great state is in Ohio. You make things and grow things. And it's like we're the big manufacturing state, but we're also kind of where it starts to get serious with the corn and soybeans and agriculture as you move across the Midwest. And you want to be a country that makes things and grows things. That's important, I think, for security reasons, important for your economy. President Trump understands that. It's been a key element of his campaign and positions and platform clear back since 2015 when he came down the escalator and announced he was going to run. I think this president does what he said he was going to do. And I always say we make the job too complicated. It's pretty basic. What did you tell the voters you were going to do when you put your name on the ballot? If you get elected, go do what you said. And nobody does it better than President Trump.
Last one, Jim, you and Comer and all my good friends did a really good job of keeping Joe Biden in check. And, along with our friend Miranda Devine here in New York and Rudy Giuliani, exposed the Biden crime family. Is that thing dead? I'm hearing rumors that maybe you guys are going to pick up the Biden thing again.
Well, I think we've done our good oversight work and got the facts there, and then looked at possible how those facts might influence what kind of legislation we pass. But I've been very pleased and impressed with Attorney General Blanche and the work the Justice Department is doing. They prosecuted some of these guys who came after President Trump and were engaged in all kind of like Comey. I think there's a high likelihood Brennan gets prosecuted. We actually our committee, the Judiciary Committee, did a criminal referral for Brennan because we know he lied to us, definitely lied to us when we deposed him last Congress, and we sent that to the Justice Department. So I do think they're doing a good job. That would largely be up to the Justice Department what they pursue relative to the Biden family or these other folks, Comey and Brennan, and of course we know that John Bolton has already pled guilty to crimes that he committed when it came to how he handled classified information. So I really appreciate what Todd's doing.
So LeBron's going to go to Philadelphia, Jim. Here's my prediction, okay? LeBron goes to Philly to try to win one more championship. He plays 2 more years. Goes to Philly to try to win one more championship, and then he comes home to Cleveland. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. It's funny. I was with some guys last night, who went to the same high school he did. They're a little older. They're my age, but they went to St. Vincent, St. Mary's, Akron, St. V there in Akron. So I'd love to see him come back, I think, to Ohio. People loved it when he was in Cleveland several years ago and won a championship. So we'll see. I don't follow the NBA like I follow other sports. So I kind of wait till NBA. I follow maybe the championship. Everyone got into the Knicks this year, of course, but up until then, I didn't really follow it. So we'll see what he does.
They're going to change the name of the Guardians to the Indians sometime soon, or what?
Every opening day, we do the same tweet every year. On opening day, we say, "Good luck, Indians." Every opening day, every spring.
I love it. I still call them the Indians. I still call them the Indians. I still call Washington the Redskins. I don't care. If the Native Americans don't care, why should I care? Jim, you're an amazing guy, an amazing congressman, and a terrific friend and a great guest. Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do. Take care, Sid.
You too. There he is, the great congressman. I really enjoy him a lot. Jim Jordan here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. I'll be back after these words.
All this energy calling me back where it comes from. It's such a crude attitude. It's back where it belongs. All the little kids growing up on the skids, they're going Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks. Jumping Gene is Moody James Dean is going Cleveland rocks, 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 Cleveland rocks.
You're listening to one of the most iconic stations in the nation. An American original. Talk Radio 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. WABC Traffic and Transit.
Well, from the Apple Bank traffic desk, if you're traveling out on a 1 and 9 in both directions, we're still all jammed up as you come into Manhattan Avenue. An overturned vehicle, that's in the process of being cleared up and out of the way. But again, still delays both ways. It's a big traffic problem there in Jersey City. And then also over in Newark, you're all jammed up as you travel up and down the McCarter Highway. That because of an earlier accident, which has now also been cleared right around the area of South Street. Up in Westchester, we still have these issues on the New York State Thruway at exit 3, an accident, 287 eastbound at exit 5. There's one. There was also one on the Springbrook northbound at 100B, but that should be cleared. Now, on the Long Island Expressway, still a lot of slow traffic as you start to get in both directions coming into the area of the Seaford Oyster Bay, but on the eastbound side, major delays. And again, this is all because of a multi-vehicle accident, which is in the process of being cleared. Now, on the subways, we still have delays on the C and the E, and then the B, the D, and the F, and mass transit, everybody else on or close to schedule. Traffic is sponsored by Apple Bank. With an Apple Bank Pick Your Term CD, you get a guaranteed rate of return that fits your 6 to 12-month timeline. Stop by an Apple Bank branch to open. Member FDIC, $25,000 minimum deposit required to open. New money only. Early withdrawal penalty may apply. I'm Joe Nolan with traffic on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Coming up on the next Bulliva's Sinatra Showcase.
Saturday night at 10.
Hey, it's Joe Piscopo for Bulliva's Sinatra Showcase. This week, we're going to Japan. Oh, no, there's a great concert from 1974. It's my favorite concert from Frank Sinatra when he was in Japan at Budokan. Classic Frank Sinatra. Also, if we have time, and I think we will, I want to cover the album That's Life.
Bulliva's Sinatra Showcase with your host, Joe Piscopo.
Music Radio, WABC.
This is
Sid on Sports.
Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers out in Queens. The Mets win over the Royals 6-2 in the middle game of a 3-game set. Up next for him, Sean and I gets a start in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game set. First pitch from KC, 1:10 in Tampa. Yankees got shut out 3-0 by the Rays in the third game of a 4-game set. They're now 5 games back in the East. Up next from the finale of this 4-game set against the Rays this afternoon, New York going for a series split. Yanks have yet to pick an opener against Tampa's Drew Rasmussen. That'll be a 1:10 p.m. first pitch. And World Cup quarterfinals get going today, 4 p.m. in New England, France, and Morocco. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. in Los Angeles, it's Spain and Belgium. Come Saturday, 5 p.m. in Miami is Norway and England, before Argentina and Switzerland get going in Kansas City Saturday at 9. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. Justin Ellick, 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
3, 4.
What a show it's been today, from John Solomon to Bibi Netanyahu's senior political advisor, policy advisor, Dr. Ophir Falk, author Aidala, Laura Loomer, Bill O'Reilly. This guy's as good as it gets in Congress. You know, I love this guy. He's a superstar. Not good, great. Out of the great state of Ohio, our dear friend Jim Jordan. Jim, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. I didn't, you know, what you were talking about intestinal problems and the guy who won't stop saying, you learn everything on your show, man. You can get it all here. I was like, what is this?
I know. God, I know. It is true, though. We do it all here, whether it's news, politics, sports, diarrhea. We do it all. Jim, I do want to get to the big weekend, the America 250 celebration. I thought President Trump's speech was magnificent, in direct contrast, mind you, to the mayor's speech here in New York, where he sat behind George Washington's desk. He put it backwards. He had a bunch of really nasty-looking people. It was just unbelievable, Jim. But for the most part, the America 250 was amazing.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because it's an amazing country. I mean, my wife and I shared this story yesterday. My wife and I went to see the stage production of 1776. Nice. A few weeks back, and what those guys did when they signed that document declaring to the world why it was appropriate to, at the time, commit treason, what they did and started and launched this amazing experiment in liberty we call America, the greatest country ever. The 250 celebration has been amazing because the country's amazing, and President Trump understands that. From everything that took place on the Mall to the UFC fight, for goodness sake, that was unbelievable. It's a great place, and we should all remember that, and frankly remember the sacrifices that those guys made 250 years ago, and all the other folks in uniform and everything else who've made sacrifices for for this special place.
Continue to make sacrifices, Iran, even today. You know, you mentioned treason, and I mentioned Mamdani, and they go together like a good steak and a good beer. You know what I'm saying? And this, I just had this conversation with Bill O'Reilly, that the numbers may not be big, Jim Jordan, but this communist takeover, and that's what it is. Sorry, Chris Cuomo, communist, okay? This communist takeover may be small in numbers now, but it is growing every day across this country. And if you're an American, you should be scared, no?
Yeah, no, I agree. We may have said this the last time we were on, or recently. I had said that the once great party of FDR and JFK is now anti-Israel and socialist or communist. I mean, it's the left has taken it over the party. And again, not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls the party is. And you're seeing that in primary after primary, so much so. And I think we talked about this there in New York. Dan Goldman, impeachment counselor, handpicked by Adam Schiff to come in and be the counselor to do the deposition. I sat in these depositions because I was there with our chief counsel from the Judiciary Committee when we got moved to the Intelligence Committee 7 years ago during that 4-month time frame when Adam Schiff was doing this all in secret. Dan Goldman was his guy, was the impeachment counselor for him and the committee. After that's over, he goes back to New York, runs for Congress, wins, and then runs again and gets beat a few weeks ago by 30 points. Even Dan Goldman, impeachment counselor, is not good enough for the radical left, which now, unfortunately, I think controls, again, the once great party of FDR and JFK.
You're right. I mean, I actually found myself rooting for Dan Goldman, and I can't stand him. Yeah, I rooted for him. Yeah, right? Because Brad Lander is such a bad guy. This is the great Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Let's get to Iran. You know, I know Trump is smarter than me, and so are you for that matter, Jim. But I've been saying for 3 months, really right after Operation Epic Fury, I said this a million times this morning on Fox News 2 weeks ago to Rachel Campos. I thought Midnight Hammer was a huge success. Huge. I thought Operation Epic Fury that Saturday morning was a huge success. But I really feel like, and I've been complaining about it almost every day as much as I love Trump, the last couple of months, we've been stuck. We've done nothing. And Iran is sticking around. I keep asking the president to do what he doesn't want to do, which is just blow these guys up. Just do it already. Maybe we're there now. I hope we are. But that's how I feel, Jim. Those 2 exercises were amazing. But the last couple of months, we've been stuck.
Well, those 2 exercises were amazing because they were consistent with what President Trump told the American people he was going to do if, in fact, he was president. He said, if I'm elected, I will make sure Iran doesn't get nuclear capability. As long as that is our primary focus, as long as that is the objective, the goal, the thing that we're striving to get to, then I think the American people understand that, because you cannot let this regime, the most evil regime on the planet, the largest state sponsor of terrorism. We've heard all these facts, but they've been doing terrible things for 47 yeyears, killing Americans, killing Israelis, killing other people, killing thousands of their own people. Sid, they are so bad. Wrestling is my background is in the sport of wrestling, and in Iran, wrestling is big. It is one of their key sports.
Yeah,
they took that 19-year-old junior champion, one of their up-and-coming star athletes in one of their key sports, and they hung him publicly because he had the nerve to protest against the regime.
That's right.
That's how evil this place is. So making sure they don't get a nuclear weapon and that I think is what we have to talk about as Republicans. This is what the objective is, and as long as it stays there, the other things, you know, if they happen, they happen. But it shouldn't be our goal to have regime change and all the other things. It seems to me the goal should be real simple: make sure they don't get a nuclear weapon, because a nuclear weapon can do all kinds of damage to our best friend and ally, the state of Israel, and can do damage to our other allies in Europe and potentially America. So that is what the president is focused on, and I believe he makes decisions that are in the best interest of the country, and he's going to make sure they do not get a nuclear weapon.
And again, Midnight Hammer almost made sure of that, because we really wiped out their centrifuges that night. The Iron Sheik, you know, I remember talking about wrestling, Jim. His whole job was to piss off the country, and he did it pretty well till they caught him. They caught him in the van partying with Hacksaw Jim Dugan right before they had their big fight at Madison Square Garden. But he was a great character for wrestling, the Iron Sheik. You know, talking about Iran and these other countries, we're seeing this too, Jim. And I know you guys in Congress are working specifically on this. Illegal immigrant workers, tons of them. Tons and tons in every big metro area. Are you telling me there's not enough Americans to do these jobs?
Well, and I think there was a recent story that says because of the number of illegals who've been in the country. Remember, it was almost 10 million in the 4 years of the Biden administration. That there's so many people come in. That's one of the things that's driving up the cost of housing. It makes it tough for young couples, newlyweds, and young couples who are in young families to be able to purchase a home. And the president, I think, has talked about this, and I saw a news story on this recently. So there's all these concerns there, not to mention illegal migrants who come into these sanctuary cities, these sanctuary jurisdictions, and commit other crimes. And you got the soft on crime prosecutors who won't prosecute them. In fact, we had a hearing a few weeks ago where Descano, the prosecutor there in Fairfax County, just outside of D.C., a county of 1.8 million people, he was taking into account the immigration status, the deportation status of people who commit crimes, and making less charges, better plea agreements with those individuals than he does for an American who commits the same crime. That is just not how our Constitution is supposed to work, for goodness sake. So this is the crazy mindset of today's left. And I think this will be center stage in this upcoming midterm election. They're the party that embraces these crazy concepts and policies. We're the party of common sense.
All right, 3 quick ones. We'll let you on. The amazing congressman doing a great job. Are you good with us selling F-35s to Turkey?
I think you got to be careful. I mean, I know the president said he's considering that. I think it should be careful consideration because I do get concerned about our friend and ally, the state of Israel. So I think you got to be careful about that. I don't know if the president's made a decision. I know he talked about that when he was in Turkey with the NATO meetings. But we'll I would want to see more before we let that happen. But I think it's we got to take into account what I think our good friend Israel and our best ally in the Middle East understands about this issue.
That's a great answer. Exactly what I wanted, Jim. Thank you. I just got back from Israel for the 5th time in the last 2.5 years, so I'm right with you. Look, good news. We talk about all the illegal immigrants' jobs here in America. How about the manufacturing that President Trump has brought back? Another thing that he promised that he has delivered on. Look at Apple, about to invest $30 billion in U.S. chips. That's a big one, Jim, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And the old line about Ohio, where I'm at now, I'm actually up in the Cleveland area today. Our great state is in Ohio. You make things and grow things, and it's like we're the big manufacturing state, but we're also kind of where it starts to get serious with the corn and soybeans and agriculture as you move across the Midwest. And you want to be a country that makes things and grows things. That's important, I think, for security reasons, important for your economy. President Trump understands that. It's been a key element of his campaign and positions and platform clear back since 2015 when he came down the escalator and announced he was going to run. I think this president does what he said he was going to do. And I always say we make the job too complicated. It's pretty basic. What did you tell the voters you were going to do when you put your name on the ballot? If you get elected, go do what you said. And nobody does it better than President Trump.
Last one, Jim, you and Comer and all my good friends did a really good job of keeping Joe Biden in check. And, along with our friend Miranda Devine here in New York and Rudy Giuliani, exposed the Biden crime family. Is that thing dead? I'm hearing rumors that maybe you guys are going to pick up the Biden thing again.
Well, I think we've done our good oversight work and got the facts there, and then looked at possible how those facts might influence what kind of legislation we pass. But I've been very pleased and impressed with Attorney General Blanche and the work the Justice Department is doing. They prosecuted some of these guys who came after President Trump and were engaged in all kind of like Comey. I think there's a high likelihood Brennan gets prosecuted. We actually our committee, the Judiciary Committee, did a criminal referral for Brennan because we know he lied to us, definitely lied to us when we deposed him last Congress, and we sent that to the Justice Department. So I do think they're doing a good job. That would largely be up to the Justice Department what they pursue relative to the Biden family or these other folks, Comey and Brennan, and of course we know that John Bolton has already pled guilty to crimes that he committed when it came to how he handled classified information. So I really appreciate what Todd's doing.
So LeBron's going to go to Philadelphia, Jim. Here's my prediction, okay? LeBron goes to Philly to try to win one more championship. He plays 2 more years. Goes to Philly to try to win one more championship, and then he comes home to Cleveland. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. It's funny. I was with some guys last night, who went to the same high school he did. They're a little older. They're my age, but they went to St. Vincent, St. Mary's, actually St. V there in Akron. So I'd love to see him come back, I think, to Ohio. People loved it when he was in Cleveland several years ago and won a championship. So we'll see. I don't follow the NBA like I follow other sports. So I kind of wait till NBA. I follow maybe the championship. Everyone got into the Knicks this year, of course, but up until then, I didn't really follow it. So we'll see what he does.
They're going to change the name of the Guardians to the Indians sometime soon, or what?
Every opening day, we do the same tweet every year. On opening day, we say, "Good luck, Indians." Every opening day, every spring.
I love it. I still call them the Indians. I still call them the Indians. I still call Washington the Redskins. I don't care. If the Native Americans don't care, why should I care? Jim, you're an amazing guy, an amazing congressman, and a terrific friend and a great guest. Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do. Take care, Sid.
You too. There he is, the great congressman. I really enjoy him a lot. Jim Jordan here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. I'll be back after these words.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?